What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto and Hinata were sent on a secret mission with Sasuke and Ino? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. An 11-year-old blonde boy sat on his swing in the academy courtyard. He had just failed his graduation exam for the second time. Now, he sat watching his classmates who'd passed their exams rejoice and celebrate with their families and loved ones. Some of the adults noticed him looking at them sadly and dejectedly, but their remarks cut him to the bone. Good thing that little beast failed. I know. Can you imagine that thing becoming a shinobi? Too scary. He couldn't take it anymore. Rather than letting them see him cry, he stormed off to his classroom to collect his things and go home. On his way in, however, he accidentally bumped into somebody, knocking himself to the ground. He stood up slowly. Ouch. Hey, sorry about that. I just stuff on my mind, Naruto said apologetically. He looked at who he bumped into. It was Sasuke Uchiha, the first in his class and all-around village heartthrob. Not half as sorry as you're gonna be, Dobi. He sneered. Yeah, kick that Dobi's ass, Sasuke-kun. Rang out among his crowd of fangirls, who followed him around like lovesick puppies, one of whom had pink hair. Sasuke gave them an arrogant smirk, then without warning, he backhanded Naruto with all his might. The blow caught him dead on his nose, breaking it. He soon followed it up with a barrage of stomps, kicks, and punches to his midsection, chest and face. His screams and cries of pain attracted the attention of another Uchiha fangirl, one Ino Yamanaka. She came out into the hall and froze, shocked and horrified at what her crush had done with such savage brutality. Sasuke stopped and sneered down at Naruto once again. Beg me to stop. Call me Uchiha-sama. Grovel like the lowly trash you are at my feet, and I'll stop, Dobi. Naruto slowly rose to his feet, blood oozing out from the various gashes all over his body and face, blood also flowing from his mouth and nose. He looked Sasuke in the eyes with a look of defiance. You feel better about yourself now? He said unsteadily. I've already apologized for bumping into you. I'll never beg or plead for anything from you, Teme. He spat out, with strength and defiance in his voice. Sasuke felt his wounded pride sting and was about to finish him off, but a string of earth-shaking explosions rocked the academy, causing burning debris to fall everywhere. Outside of the academy, a large group of missing nins had attacked the village in an attempt to steal the Forbidden Scroll. This group was rather large, about 50 to 60 strong. The Anbu was already fighting them and whittled down their number to 40, but these missing nin were considerably powerful, B rank at their weakest. Suddenly, the skies darkened over the village and lighting started to crash all around them. A large black vortex opened up, spitting out a moderately tall young man with shaggy, scruffy blonde hair. He had shinobi shoes like them, but wore no hite-8. His clothes were a bit strange. He wore a long black coat with some type of armor vest underneath and black pants. He also had a long, large blade on his back with a smaller, shorter blade across his lower back. Both sides stopped fighting to get a better look at this mysterious young man. Suddenly, one of the nuke nin decided to attack a wounded female leaf Anbu. She didn't have time to react and braced for death, but the blow never came. The blonde stranger stood over her, single-handedly blocking the killing blow with his large sword. He then pushed the nin back with a burst of strength and killed him with an overhead slash, neatly slicing him in two. He looked back to check on her. Are you alright? He said with a surprisingly concerned voice. Why yes, I'll be fine, thank you, she said, fishing for a name while looking his mismatched eyes, one blue eye and one green eye. Strange, but beautiful, she thought. Ichigo. That will do, he replied with a kind smile. He then turned his attention to the nuke nin, pulled out his second blade in a reverse grip, and charged into them. He moved in so quickly, he took out 3 with a single swipe of his blade before they acted. The Anbu watched in total shock as this stranger proceeded to tear the nuke nins apart by himself, in a mad dance of blood and carnage. But even in the madness of the fighting, this stranger still kept awareness of the bystanders. Every enemy nin that got close to the crowd, he instantly targeted them and took them out quickly. One Anbu who was watching noticed this peculiar habit. It seems that he is trying to keep innocent casualties to a minimum if he can help it. These actions certainly do add points to his favor. The mixture of double sword kenjutsu and taijutsu he used intrigued the Anbu who witnessed it. He managed to keep up his fast and furious pace throughout the battle. Next, he switched tactics, using multiple clones to herd the invaders into a cluster. He then proceeded to unleash a massive ninjutsu they never heard of before. Fuuton. Kyo Tatsumaki Kaimetsu. He screamed out, as a trio of massive tornadoes erupted in the center of the cluster of nuke nins, the winds ripping, slashing, and tearing them apart. After a good minute, the deadly twisters died down. The bodies and parts of the attacking nins that were caught in the jutsu rained down and landed with a sickening crunch. A dog-masked Anbu watched in sheer shocked amazement. That was the most powerful Fuuton jutsu I've ever seen. Just how powerful is this guy? I'm just glad he helped us out. The mystery nin discovered the last two running inside the now burning building they were near to make a final stand. He quickly gave pursuit, rushing inside. An injured Haruka grabbed his arm and made a request. To save as many students as possible. His eyes widened. There's kids in there? Damn it, I need to hurry. Right, I'll do what I can. He shouted. Ino and Hinata Hyuga watched the whole battle with awe. Now this mysterious nin was rushing in to save as many lives as possible. Good luck. Please help Naruto, Ino said, saying a silent prayer. Inside the academy, Naruto was on his third trip inside the burning building. First, after his beatdown, he found Ino trapped by burning debris. Sasuke had fled in a hurry, leaving them both there to die. She was near unconsciousness due to the smoke, but she knew that it was Naruto that rescued her. She was amazed at his resilience, all of those ghastly wounds, and he still had the strength to save her. He carried her out on his back, set her down gently and ran back inside. This trip, he found Hinata, her leg trapped by a burning beam. He summoned what strength he had left and lifted the beam to free her, badly burning his hands and arms in the process. She was unable to escape on her own, so he scooped her up bridal style and carried her out. Now back to his current trip. He heard cries for help coming from his classroom. What he saw there froze his blood. Sakura Haruno, the girl he had a crush on, was about to be killed by a strange ninja. Something inside of him snapped, and before Sakura or the nin knew it, he had plunged a kunai in the top of the nin's head, killing him instantly. She collapsed right afterward, and Naruto felt his wounds getting worse. I'm running out of time and strength. I can't keep this up much longer, he thought as he picked her up and carried her away. He was on the first floor when he ran into the last nuke nin. The nin prepared to strike a killing blow to kill them both, but a large sword came from the side, impaling him and killing him instantly. A tall blonde man who was carrying an instructor on his shoulder retrieved the blade. You alright, kid? Naruto nodded. Good, let's get the hell out of here, he said as they ran at full tilt toward the exit. They made it out a scant second before the entrance collapsed. Naruto set Sakura down in the grass as gently as he could manage, stood up and tried to walk away, but collapsed. He was caught by his new companion and laid him gently on the grass beside her. The last thing he heard was the stranger saying, "You did good, kid. Good job," before blacking out. Seconds later, a team of Anbu landed next to where the blonde sat resting. Hokage-sama requests that we bring you to him. Please come quietly, the dog-masked Anbu stated. He looked back to Naruto and the others. What about them? They need to get to a hospital immediately, he replied, with obvious concern in his tone. The Anbu assuaged his worries. Don't worry, medical teams are already on their way. Let's go, he said. The blonde looked back at Naruto and then nodded as them took off towards Hokage Tower. Sasuke swaggered over to Naruto's unconscious body, sneering down at him with a nasty look. You stupid doby. Now, I'll finish what I started, he roared as he prepared to stomp on the helpless Naruto. Suddenly a fist came from nowhere and connected with the side of his head, sending him tumbling back a few feet. He looked over to see Ino, one of his most rabid fangirls, standing protectively over Naruto. Don't you dare, you coward. She snarled at him, rage burning in her eyes and gut. He charged in again, screaming, Get out of the way or you're next, you stupid bitch. Before he got within striking range, he was stopped cold by a vicious Juken palm strike to his gut, courtesy of the normally timid, now enraged Hinata, making double over in pain. Don't even think about it, Uchiha. She snarled, spitting out the name. Naruto-kun saved my life. He ran in there, regardless of the danger and his own wounds, rescued me and carried me to safety. She finished, her pale eyes wet with tears and ablaze with fury. Ino spoke up as well. Naruto rescued me, too. You ran off like a coward, leaving me trapped. He got up and ignored all of the injuries he received from your act of senseless violence and bravely rescued me, risking his life to do so. I won't let you hurt him anymore. Ino screamed out at him in fury. The Uchiha recovered into hers, Hinata's and Iruka's horror. He ran through some hand seals, stopping on Tiger. He started out, Kaden. Gukakyu no. He didn't get to finish, being knocked out by a medic nin that came to treat Naruto. Iruka looked to see who it was, then relief washed over his features. Rin. Thank Kami you're here. He cried in relief. The brown-haired woman looked over to him with her light brown eyes. Iruka-san, hello. I wasn't about to let this little bastard hurt my little kid if I can help it. He's like a baby brother to me, she said softly as she handed out marching orders to the other medics who came with her to work on the other wounded. She glanced over to Ino and Hinata with a grateful look on her face. Thank you for defending him. He's a pretty tough little guy, but that fireball would have killed him, she said softly as one hand gently stroked his whisker marks and the other was glowing green, attempting to heal him. Ino started to cry. He saved me, Hinata, and Sakura. He risked his life, she said, sobbing lightly. Naruto-kun, please be alright. Hinata sobbed loudly into Naruto's chest. Iruka came and took the two kunoichi to be aside so that Rin could work. Sakura woke up with a start. The first thing she noticed was that she was outside and that her precious Sasuke was lying near her, face down in the grass. She ran over to him and shouted at Rin, "Why are you helping that doby? You need to help Sasuke-kun," she cried. Rin stopped working on Naruto for a moment, enraged. "Leave that cowardly Uchiha bastard there. That so-called doby saved your life," she roared, leaking out a hefty amount of killer intent with it. Ino came forward. Sakura. Ino began to explain the whole situation. The senseless beating of Naruto, the rescues, and the subsequent murder attempts by Sasuke. She dropped Sasuke's head on the ground in shock, backing away from him fearfully. But why? Why did Naruto do that? Why did he risk his life for me? I've never been nice to him. I've always insulted him, beat him, and ignored him, so why? She yelled out as she began to cry herself. She then remembered that she was the one who called for Sasuke to beat Naruto up only moments ago. Oh my god, what have I done? Please be alright? I want to apologize for all of the mean and cruel things I've done and said to you. I want to atone for all the times I broke your innocent heart. She choked out. Rin's eyes suddenly went wide with alarm. We're losing him. His heart stopped beating. Kaiza, shock him. Start cardiovascular defib, she barked out. No, please don't go. I haven't told you that I'm really sorry. No, Sakura cried out hysterically. She had to be held back by another medic from getting in the way. Kaiza, the other medic nin, used a light Raiden jutsu to shock Naruto's heart in an attempt to revive him. No effect. Again, Rin cried. Come on, Kit, hang in there, don't give up on me, she said, brushing a tear of her own away. Obito, sensei, if you're listening, please let this boy live. He's earned that and so much more. Hinata was becoming frantic. No, not Naruto-kun. He can't die. My hero can't die, he can't. It's not fair. She wailed onto Iruka's Chunin vest. Ino was barely holding together. Naruto. No. Naruto-kun, you can't die yet. The three maidens who you saved haven't thanked their hero yet. We still need you and want you here with us. So please come back to us. She sobbed quietly. Whatever gods are listening out there, please. I'm begging you, please let him live. She thought out in prayer. The rest of their class, minus the remainder of the Uchiha fan club, watched on in trepidation and anxiety. Even the normally calm Shikamaru and Shino sent up silent prayers to whatever gods that would hear them, praying that their brave classmate would make it. As if their prayers were answered, Rin finally called out in relief, I've got a pulse. He's alive and coming around. She cried out happily as Kaiza let out a relieved sigh. That's one tough kid, he commented as he got up to get help in other areas. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, noticing Rin. RR Rin Ni-chan. I is SS Sakura CH-chan. Ino-chan and Hi Hinata-chan okay? He asked, his voice weak and raspy. Ino and Hinata cried out in unison, Naruto-kun. Rin sighed, then smiled. Even after he very nearly died, he was still more concerned about them. I'm very proud of you, my little kit. Even after a broken collarbone, 5 broken ribs, a punctured lung, cracked femur, Kami knows how many gashes and bruises, and second and third degree burns all over your upper body. Even the toughest Junin would have been too busy writhing in agony, not rescuing people. I'm so very proud of you, Naruto. Rin finished. Sakura just stood there, her fists clenched so tightly that she drew blood. She sunk to her knees next to Naruto and looked him in his cerulean blue eyes. Why? Why did you save me? Why did you risk so much for me? I've always treated you like dirt. Filth. Scum. Why did you nearly die for me? She cried, her guilt easily readable in her voice. Naruto simply looked her in the eye and said, why not? Do I need a reason to save someone's life? It's just something that felt right. My heart told it was the right thing to do. Besides, nobody'll miss Adobe like me if I died. I'll just disappear like I never was. His still weak voice trailed off, tears now present in his eyes. Sakura looked on in sadness and compassion. He's so selfless. Oh Naruto, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All these years I've mistreated you, but you still saved me. You're not the idiot, I am. You're a hero. A much better person than I'll ever be. Sakura said, her voice a mixture of sadness and guilt. Don't worry, Sakura-chan. I forgive you, he said softly and gently. The relief was too much for her as she broke down, wailing her heart out on the shoulder of the young blonde she once hated, now admired. He put his still injured arms around her to give her at least some form of comfort. Shush. It's okay. It's okay. Just let it out, he said in the most soothing voice he could muster. She gave him a peck on his cheek as she pulled away lightly. Thank you. Thank you, she said as she calmed down. If I hadn't been so obsessed with Sasuke, I would have seen what was right in front of me the whole time. Naruto's so sweet. I think he deserves a chance, more than Sasuke ever will. For once, I totally agree with you. That brooding asswipe has so many girls around him, and he ignores them all. I swear he's gay or something. Naruto had nothing, but he never gave up. He's really someone very special. Ino stepped in. I'm sorry too, Naruto. I wasn't much better than her or Sasuke. Sakura and I even trashed our friendship over that jerk. Now, you proved to me that you are far more of a ninja and a man than Sasuke could ever hope to be. You've also proven your kindness to me when you forgave Sakura. I just want you to know that I really do admire you. Ino finished, a look of sheer admiration in her baby blue eyes. Naruto smiled warmly and serenely at her, making her feel as though the weight of her sins committed against him were completely lifted from her. Don't worry about it, Ino-chan. I forgive you, too. I really do. Thank you for wanting to be my friend. It really means a lot to me, he said kindly. Ino held her composure much better than Sakura did, but she still couldn't hold back her tears. He gently wiped away her tears and gave her a gentle embrace, which made her both blush and overjoyed. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun, she said, smiling with tears in her eyes as she gave him a quick peck of her own. This is the boy I could fall in love with, give my heart to. The boy who would love me back just as much. He is the one. Hinata stepped forward. Naruto-kun, thank you for saving my life. I've always watched you train. Your strength and courage have inspired me so much. You never, ever gave up on anything. I want to be just like you, brave, strong, and loyal, like a knight in a fairy tale. The world or even the gods may be against you, but please know that we will stand by you. Hinata said softly, with a serene, loving smile gracing her lips, giving him a warm and loving embrace, with her own kiss. Iruka stood up painfully and walked over to Naruto. Naruto, you're no Dobby in our books. Iruka told him, ruffling his hair playfully. I'm so proud of you. Now maybe more people will see the real you, and give you the respect you truly deserve. You'll be a fine ninja someday, I know it. Iruka added, his pride for his student overflowing. Thanks, Iruka-sensei. That really means a lot to me. I've been fighting for every scrap to respect I can for my whole life. Thank you, Naruto said calmly. Rin cleared her throat to get their attention. Well kiddo, I'd better get you to the hospital. After all, there's only so much I can do here. Rin said, signaling another medic nin to carry Naruto. We'll come visit you, Naruto. Ino shouted, with Sakura and Hinata waving and agreeing with her. Suddenly, Sasuke snapped back to consciousness. He looked around wildly. "Who stopped me?" he snarled, causing even his fangirls to back away in fear. His eyes fell on Hinata. You Hyuga bitch, I'll kill you," he screamed, a mad, uncontrollable rage burning in his dark eyes as her bore down on the Hyuga Hirus. Iruka snagged Sasuke in a full Nelson hold to restrain him. "Sasuke, stand down at once," he commanded. "Let me go. That dobe must die. He made me look like a coward. My pride will be avenged," he screamed madly. Sakura had heard just about enough. She got up and walked over as calmly as possible to him and let loose a resounding smack. The look on her face was one of pure rage and anger. "You made yourself look like a coward. You beat up Naruto for no reason, then you ran out on all of us, leaving us to die while saving yourself. You then had the nerve to try and finish off Naruto after he collapsed from his wounds and exhaustion, all from rescuing us. After Ino and Hinata wouldn't let you have your way, you tried to kill all three of them. Sasuke Uchiha, you are nothing but a cold-blooded monster and pathetic coward hiding behind your name. Daisukinai. Sakura screamed at him, releasing all of her pent-up fury and anger. Ino walked up behind her and gave her a comforting hug. "Ino, I'm so sorry. Will you be my friend again?" Sakura asked hopefully. "Of course. I wanted my friend back just as badly," she said. She then looked over to Hinata. "Hinata, would you like to be our friend, too?" Ino asked. Hinata was overjoyed to the point of tears. "Why yes. Oh, thank you, she cried as she happily embraced her new friends. Sasuke, however, wasn't done ranting yet. "Let me go. Damn you, you pathetic teacher. How dare you do this to me, an elite? I am an Uchiha. You should be groveling at my feet, you insolent common trash," he raged. Iruka, however, had heard enough. "That's it, I've had it with you," Iruka said with a very rarely heard tone of rage in his voice, as he hit a pressure point to render him incapacitated. "I need to speak with Hokage-sama about this boy and his attitude. He nearly intentionally killed 4 people, myself included, over his petty pride." He huffed, but his thoughts wandered over to Naruto. At least Naruto showed people the nobility, strength and courage in his heart. Hopefully, this will be a new beginning for him, a better one. The dog-masked Anbu opened the door to the office. "Hokage-sama, I brought the stranger to see you as requested. As you also requested, here is the basic rundown of the event. He appeared out of some kind of vortex, saved one of our Anbu, and single-handedly repelled the nuke nin attack with a very impressive mixture of taijutsu and kenjutsu. During the battle, any of the nins that got too close to the students and bystanders, those enemies took priority immediately. He seemed to wanted to minimize collateral damage. He then proceeded to unleash the most powerful Fuujin jutsu I've ever seen, then rescued 7 students and 4 instructors from the fire." He finished up. Sarutobi mused for a moment. "He seems powerful. Send him in, please," he replied. The blonde stranger walked into the room, right in front of Sarutobi. The old Hokage looked like he saw a ghost. Minato? No, it can't be. You died in the ceiling of the Kyuubi. I saw it happen," he said in disbelief. The blonde looked at him strangely, his head cocked to the side in curiosity. "Who's that?" "Sorry, don't know any Minatos," he answered honestly. "The name's Ichigo." He gestures to his broadsword. "Her name is Sakuhime. This is how I got mine," he says, pulling off his long coat leaving his armor vest and tank top, revealing a brand-like tattoo on his upper left bicep of the number 15. Sarutobi calmed himself down. "He seems so young. He reminds me of an old friend. Well, care to tell me a little about yourself, Ichigo-san?" Sarutobi said with an amused smirk. Ichigo gave him a playful and fox-like smile. Despite the air of loneliness, pain, and professionalism, he still has this playful, fun-loving and goofy side to him. This is certainly a pleasant surprise. He reminds me so much of Minato and Naruto. Wait, I've got an idea. Saru, you're still brilliant. Those features of his almost make him the spitting image of Minato, so he can be inserted as Ichigo Uzumaki, a lost relative of Naruto's. I need to know more of his past and personality first. Now back to the question at hand, Ichigo-kun. Ichigo grinned sheepishly and rubbed the back of his head. Just like Minato and Naruto. Sarutobi grinned. Oh, okay. Well, anything beyond 8 years ago, I can't remember anything. All I remember is waking up in some laboratory and being busted out by an old man named Hanzo. First thing you've got to understand is that where I'm from, the technology is very, very advanced because when I found out the truth as to what I was shocked. I was a prototype in a human weapons project to create the ultimate warrior. The perfect fighting and killing machine. They manipulated my genetic structure and fortified my body, making me faster, stronger, more resistant to injury, and rapid healing. I don't even know my age, but I'm sure I'm at least 20. Ichigo finished. This was a lot for the old Hokage to take in. Human weapons? Advanced technology? Genetic manipulation? Sounds like something Orochimaru would love to get his hands on. All the more reason to offer him a place here. He seems generally friendly and stable, as well as extremely skilled and powerful, at least Junin level. Maybe Sannin level, but that's stretching it. He already knows of chakra as he used that Futon jutsu. His fighting style also sounded very familiar. Well, Ichigo-kun. I'm sure that you won't mind telling me who trained you. Only a handful of people in this village could even match the power and speed you displayed today, if you were even going all out, that is. Sarutobi remarked, determined to unravel this blonde mystery. The old man that freed me, Hanzo, is the one who trained me as well. He taught me most of what I know now. He told me that he wasn't from my world, that over 20 years ago, during something called the Second Great Shinobi War, he was a leader of a megacure, whatever that is. He told me that through some sort of fluke, a botched seal sent him to my world. He traveled around, picking up fighting styles as he went, until he was recruited into the program that created me. He was to train us in the combat arts, but when he found that I could mold chakra, he took me as his apprentice and ran. He taught me all the ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu and kenjutsu he knew, along with some minor fuinjutsu, like storage scrolls and paper bombs and the like. He also taught me the basics like water walking and tree climbing. We couldn't find my affinity, but I've always been able to use any element, so he figured it would be a waste. I was also taught me the Kage Bunshin, to help speed up my training. He paused to catch his breath. He sorta became like a grandfather to me. 3 years ago, he died. We were ambushed by the people who made me. We thought we destroyed their research, but they made others like me. We won the battle, but he was killed. I wandered for many years, ducking and evading recapture. A life on the run isn't really all that great. It got pretty lonely. I did some work as a freelance mercenary and assassin, so I've got lots of combat experience. Ichigo finished. Sarutobi went wide-eyed. Hanzo? I thought the Sannin killed him? He exclaimed. Nope, he was alive and kicking. He did tell me about the Sannin, though, especially Tsunade. He told me that her beauty and power were beyond Kamabra. Sounded like the old man had a crush, but I wouldn't mind meeting them though. Ichigo remarked. Well, you're in luck. They originally came from here, Konoha. I should know. I was the one who trained them. Sarutobi said with a wide grin. Ichigo's eyes flew wide. What? Whoa, cool. Where are they? I gotta meet him, he said, excited as a little kid. Sarutobi's face grew somber. Sadly, they all left the village around 11 years ago. Jiraiya and Tsunade accepted sage status and left. Orochimaru turned traitor and escaped, still at large today. He said with a heavy sigh. Oh, by the way, you called your blade Sakuhime and her. Care to explain? The blade itself is called the NC Celeste. I'll introduce you to Haim, he said as he concentrated for a moment. Suddenly, a flurry of cherry blossom petals swirled, then died down to reveal a young woman with long pink hair, a white dress, and vibrant blue eyes. She also appeared to be semi-transparent. Sarutobi fought back a nosebleed. She's very beautiful, he thought. Suddenly, she nearly tackled Ichigo with an embrace. Whoa, Haim. Introductions, first. He chided playfully while chuckling, pointing to Sarutobi. Oh, please, do pardon me. My name is Sakuhime. A pleasure to meet you, Hokage-sama. She chirped cheerfully in a voice that was like a melody. Oh, ho ho ho. Sarutobi laughed jovially. It's quite all right, my dear young lady. I am Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage of this village, Konoha. This is a ninja village, deep within Hai no Kuni. Sarutobi continued his explanation of where they are and the geographical layout of the elemental countries. Also, based on abilities you showed in combat and the selfless bravery you displayed during the rescue, on my authority as Hokage, I hereby appoint you the rank of Junin. Your chakra capacity is at least mid to high Kage level. That is something extremely impressive. If your control is good enough to use genjutsu, then it's at least mid to high Chunin level. Tsukuhime looked excited. Ooh, Ichigo-kun, you're an official ninja now? Wow. She giggled loudly with her hands on her face, stars in her eyes. Sarutobi chuckled. She really likes him. That bubbly, happy personality is probably the main reason he still has a playful side. Sarutobi got back to business. He gave him his Konoha Hite 8 and Junin vest, which from the prompting from Tsukuhime, his put on immediately. She saw what he looked like with the new items on and blushed. Well, as much as a semi-transparent girl can blush anyway. Your name has always suited you, Ichigo-kun, she said shyly. You've always been a brave protector and guardian in my eyes, the kind I always dreamed of having. You've always been forced to be the hero, but you carried the responsibility very well. She blushed, looking at the young man with a dreamy gaze. Her facade soon turned downcast. But many people in our world thought that his different colored eyes were evil. They were mostly afraid of him. There was one girl who saw past it all, but she was killed. She, like me, liked his eyes. The kindness and strength in them is one of the reasons why I chose him. She finished softly. Tsukuhime felt the anger Ichigo radiated and started to assuage his rage. I'm proud of you, Ichigo-kun. I know that you would never condone that sort of thing or forgive it. That is another reason why I chose you. She said in a soft, gentle tone that could make even the toughest man melt, and she embraced him as much as she could. A slight tear fell from his face. Thank you, Haim. He whispered to her. Sarutobi pulled out a rather large envelope that was stuffed to capacity. Here is your cut of the bounties. We take a small percentage of all bounties to keep the village in the black. He stated as he handed the envelope to Ichigo. He looked inside and his eyes nearly bulged. Whoa. That's more than I've ever seen in my life. That's a grand total of 1,800,000 ryu for all the bounties combined. Sarutobi calculated. Ichigo was giving a very familiar fox-like grin as his head swam from his good fortune. Man, I like this place already, he said. His thoughts, however, flowed back to the boy who assisted him in the rescue effort. He knew that the kid didn't look too good. Hokage-sama, would you mind showing me to the hospital? He asked. Sure, I was going to take you there anyway. I still need to explain why I gave you that name. He explained everything about Naruto, in detail. Man, I thought my life was rough. I'll do it. I always wanted a family and now I've got a kid brother. He's got some ironclad guts to do what he did and I'm very proud of him. The kid needs someone to watch his back and I'll be damned if I let this go on. Ichigo stated rather forcefully. Sarutobi grinned. Just the answer I was hoping for from you. You don't want Naruto to suffer any more loneliness than he has already. I know you will be a fine addition to the Uzumaki family. You two share so much in common that I'm sure you'll bond quickly. Even your traits match each other. Wait, maybe this can be a Kekkei Genkei. It makes perfect sense and it'd be pretty powerful in the right hands. The other clans might give Naruto the support he rightfully deserves and hopefully make life a little better. Maybe the Uzumaki family can be the Uzumaki clan. Let's see how Ichigo feels on this. Since I'll want to keep you close to him, I'll put you as an academy instructor. In 2 weeks, you shall report to one Iruka Amino, and he will show you to your class. When Naruto graduates, you shall be the Junin sensei for his team. How is that? Sarutobi asked. Ichigo scratched his chin and finally said, okay. You got a deal, old man. I like this arrangement. I always wanted to teach, to steer them in the right direction. To make sure they have the tools they need to succeed. Ichigo said. This made Sarutobi smile and like Ichigo even more. Anyo, Ichigo-kun. Your core abilities are in your DNA, right? Sarutobi asked. Yes, they are. What's up? He replied, not getting where this conversation is going. You basically know how clans work, right? Sarutobi asked again. Ichigo nodded. Hanzo explained a little about that and he learned about them in a different country back in his old world. It suddenly dawned on him. Whoa, hold up a sec. You want me to start a clan? He asked incredulously. Yes, but think about it. The council might leave you and the boy alone and maybe offer you a seat, seeing as you would be clan head. Sarutobi explained. No, Ichigo said plainly. I've heard of some pretty messed up clans. Hanzo told me about the Uchiha clan and the Kagaya clan. Those guys were beyond messed up. Look, all I really want is a no-frills family, one to call my own. He finished calmly. He has a good heart. I was right to choose him for this. Sarutobi thought. Still, you and Naruto have what we consider a Kekkei Genkei, some genetic traits that can be passed down to future generations. The council may pressure you to get married since you are of age to do so, in order to spread your bloodline. Just trying to give you a heads up on what may happen. Sarutobi warned. When or if I do decide to get married, I want it to be for love, not politics. I want her to like me for me, you know? He said sheepishly, with a bright red blush that was all too obvious to the old man. The old Hokage stared for a moment, then let out a gut-busting laugh. Oh, ho. Of course, my dear boy. Finding the right girl, then whining and dining her is where all the fun is. We men wouldn't have it any other way. He said heartily as he clapped Ichigo on his back, much like a father would a son. Haha, thanks. He replied awkwardly, as they continued their trek down the streets to the hospital. Konoha Hospital 1700 hours. The trio, yes, Tsukuhime counts, made it to the hospital at a rather leisurely pace. Tsukuhime noticed the appraising looks and batted eyelashes of many of the younger women sent her master's way. He sensed her distress through their shared mental link. Hey, Haim, what's the matter? I just don't like how all these girls are flirting with you. She huffed mentally. Why, Haim, are you jealous? Ichigo asked her teasingly. He felt her indignation. I don't want just any girl to get close to you. I need to approve of her, first. She said in a matter-of-fact tone. Thanks, Haim. Thanks for looking out for me. I'm just wondering what would have been if Hitomi were still alive. I still miss her. He sighed mentally, giving off a feeling of longing and sadness. I know you do, but I also know that she wouldn't want you to stay unhappy for the rest of your life. She would want you to love again. She said softly and kindly. Thanks. I needed that, but I don't think I'll ever find someone like her ever again. He told her honestly. Don't think like that. I know you will someday. Just have faith. Even if you don't, you'll always have me. She reassured him. Thank you, Haim. UHP. Looks like we're here. The trio made their way inside the large double doors of the hospital. They walked up to the nurse's duty desk to talk to the duty nurse, a middle-aged woman with a lot of makeup. She stood up and bowed quickly when she saw who was standing in front of her. Oh, Hokage-sama, what brings you here? She said cordially. Hello, I am here to one Naruto Uzumaki. Can you please tell me which room he is in? The old man asked her. Her cordial facade faded when she heard the name. It was replaced with a scowl. This change of atmosphere wasn't lost on Ichigo and Tsukuhime. He's his room 432B. She said curtly and rather rudely. Did you catch that, Haim? Yeah, I did. What's her problem, anyway? Dunno. But I'll bet that it's the reason why I'm his new big brother. I need to find out more so I can protect him and teach him to fend for himself from what I know. They finally made it to Naruto's room to find a woman with short brown hair and curious rectangle markings under her soft brown eyes, standing outside of it. She noticed Sarutobi and bowed respectfully. Hokage-sama, good evening. Naruto will be fine, now. He had some broken bones, ribs, some gashes and cuts, and some burns. Most have begun to. She stopped suddenly as she noticed Ichigo. She froze instantly. Sensei? No. It can't be. She stammered out as she backed into the door of Naruto's room in disbelief. He looked at her worriedly. Hey, are you okay? Ichigo asked with concern, holding out a hand to help her up. She looked at him, as if to see if he were really there and she wasn't hallucinating. She cautiously took his hand and he helped her back up. She looked into his eyes closely. You're not sensei, but you look so much like him. She apologized for her strange reaction and explained to him who her sensei was. She's kinda cute. Kinda reminds me of Hitomi. Thought Ichigo as he blushed a bit with a bashful look on his face while scratching the back of his head. Tsukuhime giggled over their link. What did I tell you? She told him teasingly. Yeah, you did. I'll be damned. Rin giggled at this. He's kinda cute. That exact expression is just like Naruto's, Sensei's and Obito's. She thought. Sarutobi cleared his throat and brought the two young nin back to reality, making them both blush brightly. The old man saw this as clear as day. Ho ho ho. That was fast. And with Minato's student, of all girls. Let's hope he can help her get over Obito's death. Sarutobi reasoned mentally. Sarutobi explained Ichigo's story, but Rin was always wary where Naruto's well-being was concerned. But she went along with it, choosing to trust the old man. They all watched from a crack in the door at the scene in front of them. Hinata, Sakura, and Ino all came to visit Naruto in the hospital. They were all pleasantly surprised that Naruto was such a good listener, especially since he's a boy, and an extremely easy person to talk to. He doesn't judge and belittle anyone. They thought that something wasn't right when he cried when they came in the room. He said it was because only the Hokage or Rin ever came to visit him. They asked him about his daily life, and they were shocked when they couldn't find any trace of lying. Ino is practically a human lie detector, and she said that he was telling the truth. They knew he was an orphan, but they never imagined his life was so horrible. The truth of Naruto's life just made him an even greater hero in their eyes. All three girls nodded in an unspoken agreement. They each, in turn, gave him a flower and an affectionate kiss on his whiskered cheek. Each girl gave him a flower that represented them. From Sakura, a pink azalea. From Hinata, a snow-white carnation. From Ino, a single full-bloom red rose. Ino walked back up to Naruto's side and spoke up. Naruto-kun, while you were unconscious, I said that the three maidens that you rescued needed to reward their hero. She said sweetly. Hinata spoke up this time. Thank you, Naruto-kun. From all three of us. She said softly, giving his hand a gentle squeeze. Now, it was Sakura's turn. We all agreed on something on the way here, Naruto-kun. We all now make a pledge on the kisses and flowers we each gave you. We will never abandon you. We won't let you face the pain alone and stand by your side. We will work hard to be strong and brave, like you were for us. Most importantly, we will never betray or hurt you, and we won't do anyone else do it, ever again. Sakura vowed solemnly with the other two girls putting a hand on her shoulder nodding in agreement. Rin, Sarutobi, Ichigo, and Tsukuhime all watched and listened in to the whole thing. Rin giggled, not one, but three girlfriends. A whole new life is starting for my little kit. Rin said softly. She slowly turned to Ichigo, looking up into his eyes pleadingly. Please, take care of him. I love my little kid so much. If you hurt him, I swear on everything holy that all. She said angrily, but Ichigo managed to calm her down. Don't worry, Rin, he's just like me. He grew up alone, never knowing what a family is, or love. I'll look after him as if he were my own blood and protect him with my life. Now, I think this would be a good time to go in. He said with a warm and gentle smile that put her fears at ease. He politely opened the door for her. After you, Rin. He said warmly. Rin blushed a bit. Manners, smart, nice, and kinda cute. He might be worth it. She thought as she graciously accepted his gentlemanly invitation. They all filed into the room, the Hokage in the middle and Ichigo and Rin at his sides as his Junin escorts. Ah, Naruto-kun, glad to see you're awake already. How do you feel? He said as the girls noticed his presence. All three girls bowed respectfully and chorused, Konnichiwa, Hokage-sama. Hey Hokage Jii, Rin Nichan. He said in a worn-out voice. He noticed Ichigo and said, Hey, you're the guy who helped me and Sakura-chan out in the fire by taking out the weird nin. Thanks for that, I really owe you one. He said excitedly. Ichigo chuckled. Don't mention it, kiddo. You did pretty good yourself back there. That was a real team effort. He grinned warmly, in a way that mirrored Naruto's smiles to the girls earlier. Ino recognized him next. Hey, you're the one who fought off all those enemy ninja solo. She said amazed. But why? Do you look like Naruto? Even your smile is the same as his. She questioned. Sarutobi took the liberty to explain that Ichigo is a lost relative of Naruto's, his big brother that was thought to have been killed during the Kyuubi attack. He stepped up to the girls to introduce himself. I'm this Gaki's big bro, Ichigo Uzumaki. Nice to meet you, ladies. He said with a bright, wide smile, and a mischievous wink. All three girls' minds were running rampant. If he's Naruto-kun's brother, then he'll look like him. I knew he'd be handsome. Hinata thought with a wicked blush. Whoa, Naruto's gonna look like him? He's hot, crazy strong, and pretty nice, too. Two cuties for Uzumaki's. He'll probably train Naruto to fight like him too. Naruto's gonna outshine that Uchiha chimp in no time. Thought Ino feverishly, smirking inwardly. Inner Sakura raved over this, Shanaru. This is awesome. Naruto-kun's gonna be awesome someday. Just like his brother. Yeah, I know. This is so cool. I'm actually glad that rat Sasuke showed his true colors now rather than later. I would have wasted more of my life pining for that loser. Sakura said inwardly, agreeing wholeheartedly with her inner self. A flurry of cherry blossom petals swirls gently next to Naruto's bed, falling away to reveal a young woman with bright pink hair, vibrant blue eyes, and a white sundress, giggling lightly. Sakura stared at her, wondering if she was a Haruno ancestor. The semi-ghostly girl walked up to Naruto and affectionately ruffled his hair, the pleasant scent of cherries following her. You really are cute, Naru-kun, she said softly. But then again, you are Ichigo-kun's little brother. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. Please do pardon me. My name is Sakuhime. I'm Ichigo-kun's partner. She chirped cheerfully, giving him ghostly peck on his forehead which made him blush furiously. Sakuhime suddenly froze, her expression one of shock. She turned to the Hokage, her eyes leveling on his. Hokage-sama, would you mind telling me why Naruto-kun has two auras at once? That shouldn't be possible, she stated, expecting some kind of explanation. Ichigo joined in. Yeah, I was also wondering what he's done to deserve the stink eye from the entire village. As his new guardian, this is critical information. In a mission, a single piece of withheld info can get your entire team wiped out. He said, slightly chiding him. Sarutobi sighed, had Rin locked the door, and flashed through some hand seals, touching all four walls. Ichigo realized the jutsu used. A silence barrier. This must be dead serious to warrant doing that. He said to Sarutobi, what I am about to tell you is never to leave this room or be repeated to anyone. The consequences for divulging this information without my approval is death. Is that understood? Sarutobi stated, leveling a stern gaze at all present. All those in attendance nodded in confirmation. This all began when the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked 11 years ago. Sarutobi started to explain, in full detail. When he finished the tale, all except himself and Rin, who already knew the truth, were shocked beyond words. Naruto's face was completely unreadable. Naruto, are you all? Sarutobi began to ask, but the boy's hand silenced him. Why? Why now when I finally found some shred of happiness for once in my god-forsaken life? Why did he do that to me? Why wasn't I told sooner, seeing as how that stupid thing is sealed in ME? At least I would have known why I was hated. Why tell me now, in front of my new friends, when just got them to stop hating me? Why? He cried out in anguish, pain, and sadness. So every year on my birthday, this was the village's reason for beating me within an inch of my life? Just because they think I'm some stupid fox? He added. Rin and Ichigo looked on sympathetically. Sakuhime desperately wanted to hold him and comfort him, but she was out of energy and couldn't stay out any longer. She had already grown attached to her chibi blonde. Rin was about to go cradle Naruto, but was stopped by Ichigo. She was about to give him a piece of her mind when he directed her gaze to Naruto again. She looked over to him and saw that the three girls were already hugging him. He needed that a lot more, was his simple reply. Meanwhile, with Naruto and the girls, Naruto looked up in total shock. The girls weren't backing away in fear or calling him a demon or monster. They were hugging him. He's had that thing inside of him all this time and he never knew? How did he survive all of this and not try to kill himself? You're even stronger than I could ever be, Naruto. Ino sighed mentally, filled with a new admiration for her fellow blonde. All we ever did was make his life even more horrifying than it already was. No wonder the adults were telling their kids to hate him. But Naruto is no demon. No demon could laugh, cry, forgive, or even love like he can. I wish that hadn't been so stupid. Sakura thought. Poor Naruto-kun, I never knew. I wish that I could make it better for him somehow, to show him that I truly care about him. Hinata pondered. Ino spoke up, Naruto-kun, we made a vow on those flowers and kisses. We will stay by your side. A demon never would have risked its life to save us. In our eyes, you are a true hero, and you always will be. She finished, kissing him again on his whiskers. He really does have Naruto's best interests at heart if he noticed that. I think I'll give this guy a chance. Kakashi never really talks to me beyond a quick debrief, and none of the other guys come near me due to Naruto, but I care too much for my little kid to ever abandon him. Guy is out of the question, as well. He's a nice guy, but he's way too scary. Ichigo seems like a decent guy and he's kinda cute too. She thought. She looked up at him. Hey, Ichigo, I get off shift in a half an hour. You wanna get some dinner and, talk about Naruto? She asked. Did she just ask me out? Wait, cool it, calm down. Act natural. Sure, I'll pick you up in the lobby. He said. Finally. My first date in years. This has to be perfect. Rin squealed inwardly. Ichigo went over to him. Hey, Otuto. Don't worry about that stupid fox or the villagers. I'm just like you, more than you'll ever know. By the way, good job today. I'm proud of you. That took some real guts. Also, he paused, pulled out 40,000 ryo from his pay docket. This is for you. You did a real good number on that missing nin and this is his bounty. You earned it, little buddy. He said, slapping the money down on his bedside table. Get well soon, Otuto. If there is anything you need, let me know. He said warmly, ruffling his hair. Sarutobi spoke up next. Naruto, I'm very, very proud of what you've done today. You proved beyond a shadow of a doubt what it means to be a true shinobi of this village and what true courage really is. I hope that the village will soften its opinion of you and start to give you the respect you've earned for so long. Rin spoke up. Well, visiting hours are over, now. So let's let Naruto get some rest. She said. They all said their farewells and filed out of the room. Naruto fell back into his pillow, still processing what happened that day. This has been one hell of a day. He remarked to himself, but now, I have a big brother who will look out for me. Friends who believe in me, even though they know about the fox. I swear that the dope I used to be died today and I am now reborn. Pranks'll have to take a back seat for a while, and I'll try to think about what I say and do from now on. Hell, I'll even hit the books. Maybe things will be better now. Was all he managed to get out before a peaceful sleep overtook him. Finally, he had much better things to dream of. The Hokage had to return to his office. He still had to deal with Sasuke's deplorable behavior at the scene of the attack. He was filled with rage at how arrogant the boy had become due to the council's pampering. He had the nerve to attack Naruto while unconscious and attempted to kill his classmates. High treason, but seeing as the council was in the Uchiha's pocket, he'll probably get off with little to no punishment. He sighed and poofed away. Just as Ichigo was about to leave, Sakura stopped him. Ichigo-san, can you lean down for a second? She asked. He complied and was rewarded with a quick smooch on his cheek. Thank you for what you did for us today. Naruto-kun told me you killed a missing nin that was about to kill us and saved us. She said, blushing and smiling sweetly. Hinata and Ino followed suit and gave their own quick pecks. That was for protecting us all from the missing nin attack. There's no doubt that if you hadn't been there, we wouldn't be here now. Hinata said softly, hugging Ichigo. He hugged her back gently. Don't mention it. If there's anything you girls need, don't hesitate to ask me. It's getting late, you girls should probably get home. I bet your folks are worried sick about you. He said, giving them a soft, glowing smile. With that, they all collectively blushed, bowed and left. Ichigo just chuckled at the girls and muttered under his breath, lucky little turd, 3 girlfriends. Oh well, teasing material for a while at least. To his credit, they're all pretty cute. He said as he waited for Rin in the lobby of the hospital. Some of the duty nurses giggled and tittered at Ichigo's pouting. Now, Ichigo-kun, no need to be jealous. Tsukuhime giggled over their mental link. Jealous? Hell no. I'm actually kinda proud of the kid. We are brothers, after all. So it just runs in the family. Ichigo reasoned. Well, you're both pretty handsome devils, if I do say so myself. There's qualities in both of you that I absolutely adore. Tsukuhime said brightly. Ichigo was snapped out of the mental conversation by Rin as she walked up to him. Ichigo, you ready to go? She asked. He flustered a bit, but recovered. Yep, I'm ready. Can you, lead the way? I kinda don't know my around yet, but it's my treat, though. He grinned sheepishly. He's actually kinda sweet. in a boyish sorta way. Like a big kid when it comes to this kind of stuff. The duo walked out of the hospital into the brisk, cool breeze on this spring night. "I'm home," Ino called out to her parents. Inoichi and his wife Yuki perked up. "Ino. Oh, thank Kami you're safe," Yuki cried, clutching her daughter tightly. "My baby girl, safe," was all Inoichi could say. "I have Naruto to thank for being alive. He saved me from being crushed by burning debris. That cowardly Uchiha just left me to die. Naruto risked his life to save me," Ino said. Inoichi looked shocked. "What? Explain," he said in a hard voice. Ino told her parents every detail about that day. The savage and senseless beating Sasuke gave Naruto, the explosions, the rescues by Naruto, Ichigo's arrival and battle, Sasuke's murder attempts, the revelation of Ichigo's identity, and the truth about the Kyuubi and Naruto from the Hokage himself. Inoichi was shaking. "That boy. I misjudged him. After all we have done to hurt him, he still chose to protect this village and its people. He risked his own life in a selfless act of courage and saved my little girl," he said in a pained voice as tears started to fall. Tears of shame and regret. His wife looked on sadly. He must feel so ashamed of himself for viewing Naruto as the Kyuubi instead who he really is. "I think this whole village should be ashamed of themselves for hating such a kind, sweet, and innocent boy. Especially now that he's shown himself capable of bravery that's worthy of the Yondaime himself," Yuki thought, as she placed a hand on her husband's shoulder for support. "That boy is far stronger than I ever thought possible," Inoichi said to himself, his heart heavy with guilt. Ino looked at her dad worriedly. "Dad? Are you okay?" she asked. Inoichi suddenly stood up. "Ino, I want you to listen closely and follow me," he announced. She followed her father to a small safe locked with a seal with their family crest. "Kai!" Inoichi shouted while making the ram seal, making the seal burn away and opening the safe. In the safe she saw a scroll with a familiar spiral crest on it. "Tell me, Ino, how do you feel about Naruto versus your crush in that Uchiha boy?" Inoichi asked his daughter honestly. Ino blushed and flustered, but recovered. "Well, Naruto proved himself to me by rescuing me. He nearly died today doing it. His heart stopped due to his injuries and extreme exhaustion. A medic named Rin managed to revive him, but he was more worried about me, Sakura, Hinata than himself. He put our safety and well-being above his own life. That Uchiha always picked on him, and I wasn't much better. I was so cruel to him, but he forgave me," she explained, but started to sob. "I was so mean and cruel to him. I hurt his heart so badly, but he still nearly gave his life for mine to protect me. Then, at the hospital, I learned the horrible and awful truth of his life. But he stayed strong and never broke. He is a true hero, not only for keeping that thing imprisoned, but for saving many lives today. I can't help but love him," she cried out, her face in her hands. Her mother moved in to calm her down. "Do you truly mean that, dear?" her mother asked. "Yes. With all my heart," she replied softly. "And what of the Uchiha?" her father asked. Ino's face darkened at the mention of the name. "What of him? He left me to die, knowing I was trapped. He left Naruto for dead. After Naruto's rescues and he finally gave out, Sasuke tried to finish him off. Hinata and I stopped him, but he tried to use a fire jutsu to kill us all. Then the medic, Rin, knocked him out before he finished. After the medics finished work on Naruto, Sasuke woke up and tried to attack us again, but Iruka-sensei took him down and dragged him away. We went to the hospital to visit Naruto and learned the truth about him. His life was more horrible than any nightmare and I promised to always be by his side. That disgusting, despicable Uchiha is dead to me," she finished, spitting out the Uchiha name like a foul taste. Inoichi smirked. "Well, with that said, this scroll is for an arranged marriage between you and the son of the Yondaime that we were working on before the Kyuubi attack. Sadly, we never got to finish. The Yondaime was an old friend of mine from my academy days. He also saved my life during the Leaf Rock War," he said with nostalgia, pulling out a peculiar three-pronged kunai he got as a keepsake from his old friend. Ino looked confused. "What does all this have to do with Naruto?" she asked. A grave expression was on his face. "What I am about to tell you must never be revealed to anyone. Only a handful of people know that the son of the Yondaime still lives here in Konoha and is in your class. He finished, letting the obvious hints sink in. Ino's eyes went wide as realization dawned on her. No, it can't be. I thought that the Yondaime was a namikaze. She said, look at the scroll, Inoichi said plainly. She did as she was told. She opened it up and saw the names of the parents, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Uzumaki? She said, her voice very shaky. Naruto Uzumaki? She asked her dad. Yes, Naruto Uzumaki is the son on the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. He was given his mother's name to protect him until he made Chunin, but now, as you said, he has a guardian now, this Ichigo Uzumaki fellow. Inoichi would have carried on, but his daughter fainted from the information overload. Her mother smiled. It looks like she loved him on her own. I knew that boy had it in him. She said softly, I was a fool for doubting his son. I only hope that this can help repay even a small portion of the large debt I owe him and his son. I need to talk with the Hokage about this, right now. He said as he snatched up his coat and headband, and headed out to Hokage Tower. Haruno Residence 1832 hours. Sakura made it through the doorway as she shouted out, Mom, I'm home. She was soon engulfed in a massive hug by her mother. Oh Sakura. Thank Kami you're all right. I thought I lost you like your father. Miho Haruno cried. Sakura simply hugged her mother tiredly. I'm okay, Mom. I'm fine, but I need to talk to you about Naruto. She said. Naruto? What about? She asked, an edge to her voice. He saved my life. She started to explain about everything that happened that day. Miho sank to her knees and wept. Tears of shame and guilt. The demon boy has saved my baby. She stammered. Sakura got upset at this. Naruto is not a demon. How could you blame him for something that wasn't his fault? Something had no choice in? Hokage-sama told me about the Kyuubi. Naruto was only a baby. How could this village do this to him? She bellowed out, clearly enraged. What about the Uchiha boy? Miho asked. I could care less about that coward. Weren't you listening? Firstly, he beat up Naruto just to show off, then when the attack happened, he ran off, leaving Ino trapped and Naruto for dead. He heard her cries for help, but ignored them. Naruto was badly hurt, but he pulled himself up and saved her. Next, he ran back inside and rescued Hinata, getting badly burned in the process. He then ran back inside and found me. One of the nin who attacked made it inside and was about to kill me, but Naruto killed him and carried me out. By then, his burns and injuries were even worse than before, but he still managed to get me out to safety. His new big brother, Ichigo, fought off the attacking nins by himself. I met him again at the hospital while we visited Naruto. He's a really nice guy and a Junin. He looks just like a older Naruto. He's actually kinda handsome. She trailed off, blushing. But she quickly recovered. After he had to leave with some Anbu, Sasuke tried to finish off Naruto and kill him, but Ino, Hinata, and I stopped him. He then tried to kill all of us with a fire jutsu, but a medic named Rin stopped him, knocking him out. Miho's eyes widened at the name. Rin, she was one of Minato's students. She realized. Naruto's heart stopped beating because of his injuries, blood loss, and critical exhaustion while she tried to work on him. He almost died for me. I was never nice to him. I was always so mean and cruel to him. I trampled on his feelings and broke his heart so many times, but he forgave me. He forgave everything. When he finally woke up, he was more worried about us than his own life. I love Naruto-kun. She started to sob. I love him so much. That monster Sasuke tried to kill us. She finished, clenching her mother tightly. After she calmed down, Miho had something important to tell her daughter. She got up and motioned for her to follow. She was brought to her mother's room, where her mom pulled a medium-sized hope chest out of her closet. It was locked with a Haruno family seal. Kai, her mom shouted, as the seal burned away and the chest sprung open. Inside the chest was large white coat with a scroll and a photograph on top. The jacket had red flames around the edges and the kanji for "Will of Fire" embroidered on the back. The picture was of a tall blonde man with very familiar spiky hair holding a baby with pink hair, standing next to a pink-haired woman in a hospital bed and a very pregnant, but beautiful, red-haired woman. "Mom, who is this?" she asked. Her mom smiled. That man was none other than the Yondaime Hokage himself, and the red-haired woman was his wife, Kushina. She's beautiful, Sakura marveled. Kushina Uzumaki, her mother said. Sakura felt her blood freeze. Yu Uzumaki? She stammered. Yes. During the Rock-Leaf War, Minato saved me from a rock ambush that wiped out my squad, and Kushina kept me alive long enough to get to the hospital. We were good friends after that. They even introduced me to your father and were best man and maid of honor at our wedding before he became the Hokage. This jacket was a wedding present from them. They were also your godparents, and he named you after his favorite tree, because of your hair. The Yondaime and his wife were my godparents? Yes. Kushina was very close to giving birth herself. We wanted to arrange it so that if the baby was a boy, we would arrange for you two to be married when you came of age. I was going to be engaged to the son of the Yondaime. But the Kyuubi attacked before anything could be finalized. It attacked the night their son was born. Your father died fighting it, Kushina died after the hospital collapsed, and Minato died, sealing the beast into his own son. But that means. Before I go any further, you must swear to me that you will not tell anyone what I am about to tell you. If this gets out, I could be put to death. Now swear to me. I promise not to tell. Naruto Uzumaki is the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. His dying wish was for Naruto to be seen as a hero for holding the fox prisoner. But fear, sorrow, hatred, and stupidity overrode that wish. I once tried to kill Naruto myself when he was only a year old, but I stopped. I couldn't believe what I was prepared to do to a baby, an innocent child my own child's age. He was only 2 days old when the council tried to have him killed the first time. What? The first time? Countless attempts have been made on his life for the day he was born, Sakura. Coincidentally, these attempts stopped after the Uchiha massacre. The Uchiha clan head hated Minato, as he was selected to be Hokage rather than him. They wanted his son dead, fearing that their prestige and influence would suffer if he grew to be like his father and mother. So that's why Sasuke hates Naruto so much. For something so petty? It's so shallow, it's wrong. That's not all. They also stirred up the civilian council and a portion of the other shinobi to harm him as well. Beatings, stabbing, and once, even rape. She said with disgust. No child should ever have to deal with that. The guilty one was an Uchiha. They thought if they couldn't kill Naruto, then they would destroy his mind. That way, the sons of Fugaku, the clan head, would have an undisputed shot at Hokage. They also blocked every attempt by the other clans to adopt and protect the child. I myself tried, and so did the students of Minato, Kakashi and Rin, and the Ichirakus. We all failed. They tied our hands to make him suffer. But a miracle happened. He inherited his father's iron will and mother's refusal to give in. Today, he showed the ignorant fools of this village what a true hero really is, while the Uchiha showed his clan's true colors, disgracing himself. Miho finished, her eyes full of pride for the boy. Sakura herself was torn between her disgust for the Uchiha that the village so ignorantly worshipped, and her newfound admiration and love for Naruto. Mom. Yes, dear? I want to marry Naruto. He already proved to me that he is willing to sacrifice everything he has to protect me and this village. I would be honored to become his wife. Hold on, dear. The pact wasn't finalized, she replied, but she saw the dejected look on her daughter's face. Tell you what, I'll go talk with the Hokage tonight and see what can be done. Okay? Hi, Ka-san. Sakura yawned. I think I'll go to bed. It's been a long day. She went to go take a bath and her mother left for Hokage Tower. In the bath, she reflected on what she learned. I can believe I was so blind and naive. Chasing after that scumbag. What happened to the clan was more like divine punishment for their heinous crimes. I followed suit with my own sins against Naruto. But, no more. Even if the engagement falls through, I want to be the best wife to him that I possibly can. He deserves at the very least that much from me after the things I've done. She pondered. She finished up her bath and got bed, dreaming of a wedding day that is very much a possibility. Hyuga Manor, main compound 1849 hours. Hinata was extremely nervous. Her father had called her into his study after supper, and that was rarely a good thing. Her mind raced, as did her heart, as she announced herself outside of the door to his study. Oh Oto-sama, you wanted to speak with me? She asked nervously. Yes, I did. Shut the door behind you and lock it. He said briskly. She did as she was told. I was told about the events which took place at the academy today. He said, but to Hinata's shock, his scowl melted into an amused smirk. You really put the Uchiha boy in his place. I'm very proud of you, my daughter. He said softly, smiling. She couldn't believe what she heard. Her father complimented her, even praised her. Her heart soared at this. She quickly summoned up a little courage. So, father, you know about how Naruto Uzumaki saved my life? Yes I do. I dare say that the boy has deeply impressed me. With the injuries that were reported, he should have been either dead or unable to move. What he showed me today was worthy of the Yondaime himself. Courage and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty. He said thoughtfully as he looked at a picture on his desk. In the picture, there was a large man with white hair and a Junin vest and 3 boys. She recognized her father, and the blonde looked familiar, but the dark-eyed boy was a mystery. Anyo, father, who are they? She asked curiously. Hiyashi lightly chuckled. This was my genin team when I was your age. The man with the white hair was our Junin sensei, Jiraiya. Jiraiya-sama? One of the legendary Sannin? Yes, my dear. The very same. The blonde boy was my best friend and none other than the future Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. The dark-eyed boy was Fugaku Uchiha, the late father of your classmate, Sasuke. Minato was always very bright, sunny, open, and friendly. Fugaku was his exact opposite, always obsessed with power and being the best. They were even rivals for the position of Hokage. He stated. He then changed the subject. Tell me Hinata, how do you feel about Naruto? He asked her honestly. She immediately clammed up, her face turned a violent burning red, and kept stammering while bridging her fingers together. She let out a good-natured belly laugh, something as rare as snow in the summer. I guess that answers my question. He chortled. You know, Minato was my inspiration for your name. Hinata, a sunny place. It resembled his personality. His wife, Kushina Uzumaki, delivered you and she really liked you. She said the name felt right. He finished to let his obvious hint sink in. Uzumaki? She squeaked. Before we go any further. He paused, pulling out a scroll with a familiar swirl crest on it. I was going to propose to engage you to his son, but the Kyuubi attacked the night he was born. I know that Hokage-sama told you the truth about it. Minato sealed it in his own son to save us all. And Naruto? His father was. Yes, his father was the Yondaime Hokage and my best friend, Minato Namikaze. His mother was Kushina Uzumaki. Both were the last of their clans. Too bad we never got to finish this engagement, since you've had feelings for the boy for a while now. But, he also inherited his father's cluelessness towards women. He finished with a good, hearty chuckle. I can go talk to Hokage-sama about this, since Naruto is a ward of the state. He said to reassure his daughter. Hi, father, she said, walking out the door to the study in a daze. Hiyashi heard around the corner Hinata squealing happily, I have a chance. She merrily skipped away to her room, giggling madly while her happiness practically made her glow, making the other members of her family wonder if she was all there in the head. Hanabi simply sighed, chalking it up to something Naruto-related again. She just wished that she wouldn't go as crazy as her sister when she found someone. She knew of Naruto, and while she thought he was an idiot, he was a charming idiot at least. Hiyashi just chuckled and scooped up the scroll and headed out, bound for Hokage Tower. Kurigashi's, downtown Konoha 1857 hours. They walked up to a restaurant called Kurigashi's and got seated side by side. The staff, used to serving shinobi, didn't mind the 5½ broadsword on Ichigo's back. They ordered up dinner and as soon as at least the sake got there, they were neck-deep in conversation. He also warned her that he had never drank before and she teased him good-naturedly about it. He mentioned that Sarutobi's plan was to insert him into the academy teaching staff. Yeah, I always wanted to teach at least once, anyway. I want to help them bring out the potential that no one else would otherwise see. When I hear about geniuses and prodigies, all I see is arrogance and selfishness, like that Uchiha kid I've heard tell about. I don't believe in those and those should not exist. They should be helping each other, seeing as how they will have to place their lives in one another's hands someday. Naruto's persistence and drive are his greatest weapons. Temper that with the right training, and he'll be even stronger than me. He's got the heart of a true warrior, brave and loyal. That is something that should be highly valued. I'm already going to train Naruto. He proved to me that he won't abuse the skills I'll teach him, and he is willing to work for power and earn it. He deserves it after what I've heard about the academy and most of the staff there. Instead, I hear that the educational system here caters to buttwipes like that Sasuke kid, just for his name and bloodline. I've seen attitudes like his breed nothing but tragedy due to selfish desires for power and the worst traitors I've ever seen. That place could really use a good shakedown. He finished as their orders got there and took another shot. Rin raised her sake cup, amen to that. She said, downing her shot. I've seen what most of the academy teachers do to Naruto. They deliberately sabotage his learning. I think the academy could use someone like you. Kami knows the current system is shot and the average of students passing has been on a sharp decline since I graduated 14 years ago, and the quality of said graduates is even worse. She explained, slightly buzzed and picking at her dinner. Hell, Iruka and a few others are the only ones now that actually have the right to call themselves teachers. The rest are an embarrassment, emphasis on the ass. She added as she drained her bottle of its contents. I don't want Naruto to be held back by some morons with a superiority complex, or any other student for that matter. Every student deserves a chance to succeed, no matter who they are. I'll see to that. That's a promise. My sensei, who made it possible for me to even be alive today, gave me these words to live by. Those that disregard the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are even worse. This is a saying I've lived my life by ever since he took me in. Ichigo said as he slammed down the rest of his bottle, starting to feel the effects of the alcohol. I'd better stick to tea. He said, slightly shaking his head to shake off the buzz. Rin's eyes flew wide when she heard those words. She looked at him and saw overlapping images of her old sensei and the boy she loved long ago, Obito. Rin started to tear up and cried. Ichigo looked at her worriedly. Rin, are you all right? He said softly. To his surprise, she wheeled around and embraced him tightly. He just hugged her softly, letting her get it all out. Shush. It's okay. Go ahead and let it all out. I don't mind. After a moment, she calmed down enough to tell him the story of her teammates and the boy he and Naruto reminded her of so much. And so, you and Naruto remind me so much of him. She trailed off as she leaned in closer to him. He pulled back, thinking it not right to do this when she's so upset. Sorry, can you walk me home? She asked shyly. Of course. He answered softly. He paid their tabs, and the two were off to her apartment. Rin's apartment 2004 hours. The walk back to Rin's place was somewhat slow. She admitted that when it came to booze, she was a real lightweight. Just that bottle made just tipsy enough that she couldn't really walk very well. Ichigo couldn't carry her on his back due to his holy blade being holstered there, so he carried her bridal style. Normally, she wouldn't want such close contact, but something about this new Uzumaki she fully trusted. He finally got her home with her guiding him and helped her stand to open her door. She stood there gazing at him sheepishly, apologizing once again for unloading her story on him and forcing him to carry her all the way home, but she thanked him for being a gentleman. She wobbled a bit, but he steadied her, which brought him down to eye level with her. Her soft browns gazed into a mix of cerulean blue and emerald green. She had never seen something so unique or captivating. Their faces came closer together, slowly inching toward each other. Ichigo pulled away again, pain evident on his face. I just can't do it. She's still grieving this Obito guy and she's had a little too much to drink. I just isn't right. Oh Hitomi. I still miss you so much. She reminds me of you in a way. He thought sadly. Rin looked at the sad expression on his face and couldn't help but worry. Is it because he doesn't like me or he has someone else? She wondered. What's wrong? She asked him in worry. It's not you. It's me. I don't know if I can do this. You see, before I came here, I was in love with a girl. Her name was Hitomi. Remember when I told you that Naruto and I were more alike than you could ever imagine? I didn't tell you the whole story. He admitted. He began to tell her the real story of Hitomi and the short-lived romance and his true origin. Her worry turned to sympathy. No, just like me? Oh, Ichigo-kun. Rin thought as her heart went out to him. She did the only thing she could think of. She cupped his face and kissed him on his cheek. Don't worry, Ichigo-kun. It's okay to feel this scared. I am, too. I have to let go of Obito. It's been 13 years since he died, she said as she hugged him as tightly as she could while confiding in him. But I do know one thing that my past has taught me. Don't wait until it's too late. To always look for the goodness in someone's heart, instead of what's on the surface. I just met you, but I feel as if I've known you my whole life. I feel as if I can give you my heart, Ichigo-kun, she said softly. Ichigo was stunned. She likes me, she likes me. Hot damn, she likes me. Even loves me, he thought as his heart soared to heights he never imagined possible. He hugged her tightly as he actually started to cry tears of happiness. I never thought that I would ever get to feel like this. I promise I'll never leave you, never hurt or betray you. You have my undying loyalty. He choked out. She held him for what seemed to be an eternity, cradling him. When he finally calmed down, he discovered that they somehow made it inside her apartment. He got up, blushed so brightly that he almost glowed in the dark, and said his goodnights. This time, he kissed her on the cheek. Good night, Rin-chan. Sweet dreams, Ichigo-kun. With that, he left to go find a hotel room for the night. Rin was left with her thoughts. I know that Obito wouldn't want me to mope around forever. He is so much like him, and Sensei, too. I know that he is a good man, despite all the pain and suffering he's been through. You and your brother both have hearts of gold lined with steel. Something truly rare and valuable. I couldn't have chosen a better person to give my heart to. She finished with a sigh. A lone lost soul, seeking to find his place in a world that despises his kind. Bound by an unbreakable oath to protect those who need his strength, still hated for being what he is. Bound by a cruel fate to walk the path of the forsaken hero, unwanted and unloved by all. The lost soul discovers a light in his darkest hour. The light embraces him and guides him through his nightmare to a better place, one where the family and comrades he so desires awaits him. It was the dawning of a new age, new technology, new ideas and theories. This also, unfortunately, gave rise to new ways to abuse this newfound power. A large corporation sought to create the ultimate weapons out of human beings. This large conglomerate dabbled in many fields of research, from medical and energy, to the military and weapons. In doing this, they had their hands deep into politics, as well, to skirt around what most would consider amoral and even illegal. To this end, they sought out orphans. They originally had over 100 children, but over 7 years and many brutal experiments, that number was whittled down to less than 10. The combat trainer of the project, an elderly man who was simply named Hanzo, was brought onto the project to train the children in his arts, the shinobi arts. Even after all of the enhancements made to the children, pushing their physical abilities to heights that normal humans, no matter how well trained, could ever attain, they could not even use the simplest technique. This infuriated the project managers to no end that their creations weren't up to snuff. Hanzo did, however, discover that one of the children was able to mold the energy that he called chakra. The boy had strawberry blonde hair, the tattoo of the Roman numeral 15 on his upper left bicep and right shoulder blade, and very unique eyes. He had what was known as heterochromia, where his eyes were two different colors. In his case, his right eye was crystal blue and his left was emerald green. This child is special. He has so much untapped potential that would be wasted by these egotistical fools and their sick plots. I am too old. I need a successor to pass on my skills and jutsu. This boy will have to do. He thought as he worked out a plan to break himself and the boy away from corporation. Finally, their chance came and the elderly shinobi took the chance to grab his heir and run. He managed to awaken the 10-year boy from the hypnosis that his kind were kept under to control them and began to train him. The old man revealed himself to be a shinobi, an extremely powerful and competent one. As it turned out, the blonde-haired student that he took on had a monstrous chakra supply, dwarfing even his own. Over the course of 5 years, the odd-eyed boy was trained to control his massive chakra stores as well as other things, like swordsmanship and his own ninja arts. During their training, Hanzo began to view the young boy as a grandson as well as his heir. The boy grew into a young man of 15 years old, a confident, strong, brave, and intelligent shinobi in his own right. Over the years, Hanzo enrolled him in schools to teach him the things that he couldn't. That gave rise to many odd quirks in his personality. More and more was the name he gave him warranted by his personality. Originally, he was named for his experiment number, Ichigo, but his love of strawberries and his protectiveness of people in need gave credence to the name. However, he was all but shunned by normal humans. His eyes were very different and people were afraid of him. Kids his own age mocked and picked on him wherever he went. One day, he found a friend, a blind girl named Hitomi Sukamura. She had very long chocolate brown hair that came down to her waist that she always kept in a ponytail and with chocolate brown eyes to match. She noticed him on his first day in their school, and felt intrigued by him. She had heard all of the rumors about him, such as being a criminal or a demon in disguise, but she saw past it all and found the person he was underneath. She talked with him one day and she found him to rather nice and kind, but she felt something from him that she never felt before. In turn, the girl fascinated him to no end. She wasn't like everyone else, she was special in a way he just couldn't describe. Hitomi was the first human he met besides the old man that didn't judge from appearance or second-hand information. She relied on her own instincts and what she found out for herself. She had a strong mind and was very intelligent, and it didn't hurt that he found her to be very attractive. Her blindness was something he didn't mind at all. It was simply a fact of life and it didn't make her a different in his eyes. She knew that he wasn't what he appeared to be, so she asked him about it. The blonde-haired young man felt that he could trust her. He brought her to the small apartment that he and his sensei, Hanzo, shared and they told her the whole story. The brown-haired girl began to cry for him and she embraced him tightly. The old shinobi knew then and there that telling her was a good move. His young apprentice now had somebody his age who knew and understood his condition and could care less about it. She saw people for who they really were. Inner sight, a very rare and precious gift. Hanzo told himself. He also sensed that she was utilizing chakra to bolster her other senses without even realizing it, so her trained her in control to sharpen her senses even more. Once, a student threw a coke can at her, but she sensed it and caught it without even breaking her stride. Ichigo saw that and nearly fell in love on the spot. The pair were near inseparable after the first month, one rarely seen without the other. They were in most of the same classes, and even walked most of the same way home every day. He did learn, however, that she was picked on by the boys even more now that she hung out with him and some of the girls were jealous of her for being friendly with him, as well as the fact that she lived alone, supported by relatives. After learning all of that, he shadowed her everywhere she went, like her guardian angel. He also invited her to come over to his apartment whenever she wanted, to just call him and he'd be there to pick her up. Most of the time, he didn't even have to get physical. A henge was all he needed, like turning into a cop or a teacher to scare the bullies or baddies away. He really didn't want to let people know that he could fight. That would only antagonize the hoodlums that always wanted to throw down with him. One day, though, he didn't have much of a choice. Hitomi was snagged off of the streets on her way home and Ichigo tailed her captors. It turned out that some of the guys at the school had some gang ties and they wanted her for some entertainment. In mid-travel, Hitomi came around. She looked around and clutched her blonde friend tightly, as she was currently in mid-air, over 50 feet above the street. Wait a minute. I saw that. My eyesight, it's back. She thought, ecstatic. She then stole a glance at her friend's face, curious as to what he really looked like, and she wasn't at all disappointed. He's pretty handsome. His eyes are so strange but beautiful. And his hair, bright golden blonde. The formerly blind girl said inwardly with a blush. She noticed a pained look and a grimace on his face, then she felt something wet on his right side. She then noticed that it was blood, his blood. Ichigo-kun, you're hurt, she exclaimed. This surprised Ichigo, who thought she was still out cold. It's not that bad, Tomi-chan. He tried to assure her, but she wouldn't have it. No, you got hurt saving me, she cried. He relented and went to his apartment to recover. Hanzo saw his injury and told him to take off his shirt and lie down on the couch immediately. Hanzo then thought a few hand seals, and called out, "Injutsu, Shosen." As he did that, Hitomi saw the old man's hand glow a gentle green as he passed his hand over the wound. Slowly, the bleeding stopped and the wound began to mend before her eyes. How did you do that? Could you teach me? She asked the old shinobi. Hanzo considered it for a moment. Why would you like to learn ninjutsu? Hitomi wasted no time in answering him. Because I can't stand it when he gets hurt, especially for my sake. She replied, tearing up at the last part. I want to help him, to be with him. Because he's my hero, and I love him so much. Hanzo recognized love when he saw it. He looked over to his young apprentice and saw that he was resting. You know, my grandson is quite prone to trouble. I could use the help whenever the boy gets hurt, and you have the control to become a decent medic. He told her. He also told her about the medic nins, where he was from, and how they were angels of mercy on the battlefield. She agreed wholeheartedly and was taught the medical ninjutsu. This girl must really love him. Good. After what was done to him, he deserves this, to be loved. Hanzo thought as he was teaching the young woman what medical arts he knew. He was quite surprised by the fact that she could see, and even more by the speed of her learning. She had down the basics in less than 2 hours. Amazing. Simply amazing. Soon, she began to study medicine and medical science to further what she learned. Hitomi found herself spending even more time with her blonde friend, and Ichigo found himself attracted to her even more as they trained together. Hanzo even gave her a sort of kunoichi starter's kit, with training clothes and the same shinobi sandals that Ichigo and Hanzo wore, specially made for her. The pair had taken the girl as one of their own. He also trained her in self-defense and the 3 basic jutsu, henge, kawarimi, and bunshin. One day, they were training down by a lake that was near Hitomi's apartment. He was teaching her how to water walk that day. That's it, Tomi-chan, one step at a time. He told her calmly as he coached her through the exercise. You just need to get down how to adjust the chakra output to your feet. Hitomi slowly began to walk toward him on the water's surface. Ichigo-kun, I'm doing it. Yay, she cheered, but lost her concentration and stumbled right into his arms. The two teens stared at each other in surprise, but their faces slowly moved toward one another, their lips meeting in an innocent, but heartfelt, first kiss. It only lasted for a moment, but that didn't lessen the feelings behind the kiss. I love you, Hitomi-chan. He breathed out, his forehead resting against hers. I love you too, Ichigo-kun. She replied, hugging him tightly. I've loved you for a while, now. You cared for me. You didn't mind my condition, but you didn't pity me for it. You watched over me, like my very own guardian angel. You rescued me, risking revealing yourself and even your own life. I love you. Even if you don't think of yourself as human, you're human enough for me. Thank you. Thank you seeing me as a human. You saw my eyes, but you weren't afraid of me. You became my first and only friend. You know of my past and you stayed by me. I love you, now and forever. The new couple stayed there by the lake until sunset, sitting against a tree hand in hand with gentle smiles of contentment on their faces. Hanzo had stopped by to check on their progress when he saw the gentle scene of young love. Spiriting him away from those awful labs was something that I will never regret. I could never forgive what they had done, or myself. I only hope this can help me atone for what I nearly had a hand in and the things that I've done in the past. At least the boy has found his happiness and will use what I have taught him to protect his love and all he holds dear. May the gods watch over you, my boy. Slowly, the other girls at school backed off and recognized her claim on him, and the boys backed off of teasing and chasing her, realizing that they were officially together. The way they looked at each other said it all. The two of them were deeply in love, and no one could stop it. Months passed, their relationship was still going strong and growing stronger. There was a formal dance social that the school district was having, and of course Ichigo and Hitomi were going. Hanzo was actually asked to help chaperone the dance, but even more surprising was that he agreed to do it. The dance was magical for the two young lovers and they believed that all was right with the world. Sadly, this happiness wasn't to last. They had let their guard down and stayed in one area too long, for over a year. This allowed the UAC, as the corporation was called, to track them down. While the dance was still in full swing, they came for him. They had been watching and knew when to strike. They came crashing in during a slow song, creating havoc and pandemonium in their wake. The agents called Ichigo out and revealed what he was to everyone, just before they attacked. They began to fight in front of everyone. The battle was long and brutal, destroying many buildings and injuring many people. The UAC didn't care how much destruction they caused, as long as they got what they wanted. Soon, the soldiers and operatives that were sent out to capture them brought out their secret weapons. the other experimental soldiers that Ichigo once was. It was then that the fighting started to get real nasty. Hitomi was fine against the soldiers and agents, but the super soldiers were in a league above the kunoichi in training. "Hitomi, I want you to find a safe place and hide there. Sensei and I will handle this now," he told with steel in his voice. She knew that he had real combat experience and would not want her to be hurt, so she complied. The shinobi duo started to sling jutsu left and right, using their ninja abilities to their fullest extents and pushing themselves to their limits. During the course of the fighting, Hitomi got worried and began to search for Ichigo. She soon tracked him down and ran over to him. Ichigo was locked in combat with two of them and had just struck the killing blow to them both as she hugged him. One of them wasn't dead yet and made a move to kill him. Hitomi, however, sensed the move and pushed Ichigo out of the way, receiving a blade to her stomach. He asked her why she did that, but she just gently caressed his face and kissed him. "It's because you're special to me. I didn't want to see you get hurt because of me, again. I never regretted a single moment together with you. I gladly would have given you my hand in marriage, to become your wife one day. My sweet Ichigo-kun. I always love you." Ichigo held her tightly as the life passed from her eyes. He couldn't believe it. The girl he loved and who loved him in return was gone. With a cry of rage, he literally exploded with power as he took down the rest of the UAC's super soldiers in quick order. He soon discovered that Hanzo was dying as well. The battle was too much on his old body and his heart was failing. Ichigo told him about Hitomi dying and it broke the old man's heart as well. "I liked her. She was good to you, and I could tell that she loved you deeply. I am sorry for your loss. My boy, take this. I received this from a Konoha Anbu long ago. It is called the Chakra Fang." Hanzo began to tell him more of the world he was from, with ninjas with similar abilities and jutsu, where he might have fit in. Just before the old man died, he gave Ichigo his ninjutsu, the Chakra Fang, a very special blade that could channel his chakra to make it stronger. With that, the 16-year-old shinobi wrapped up Hitomi's body lovingly in the coat of his tux, gave her one last kiss, and left her for the coroners. After that he disappeared, without a trace. He wandered for months, plying his trade as a mercenary for hire. He made a name for himself rather quickly, taking on jobs that no one was either foolhardy or brave enough to tackle. He no longer cared about anything else. He just wanted his love back with him. To the enemies he faced, his name was synonymous with fear and death itself. It was only 8 months until he was tapped for a job in Eastern Europe. This job required someone with his unique abilities. The mission was to go inside of a large old castle and clear out the monsters living in it. He accepted and proceeded on mission. It was very dangerous work, and some of the monsters were quite powerful and cunning. After he had cleared out an underground area, he found a curious-looking blade. It was quite long, around 5.5 feet in length and 6 inches in width, pretty massive for a sword. Curiosity called him to it for other reasons, such as the aura it gave off. It was completely at odds with its atmosphere, radiating warmth and light. It also seemed to call out to him, almost reach for him. He cautiously took hold of the hilt, but as soon as he did, a white light enveloped him. It surprised and scared him at first, but something about the feeling it gave him calmed him down. Suddenly, in a flurry of sakura petals, a beautiful young woman around his own age appeared before him. He took in her appearance and blushed a bit. She had long and flowing bright pink hair, brilliant blue eyes, a flowing, pure white dress, topped off with an angelic face and smile to match, aimed at him. The spiritual girl glided over to him and caressed his face lovingly. "Thank you. Thank you so much for setting me free. I've been trapped here for so long. I've been so lonely," levitating Ichigo along with her. She then embraced him tightly, put her forehead to his and closed her eyes. She saw all of his memories and his entire life and learned of his situation. She even understood what he really was, and for this, she began to weep for him. "Ichigo-kun. Your life has been fraught with painful loss and sorrow, but your heart, mind, spirit, and soul have remained strong. You have lived through a nightmare that many would have been driven mad by, yet you fought your way through on your own strength. For all of this, it seems that a piece of you is missing, a piece of your broken heart. You must have loved Hitomi-chan with all of your heart for it to be broken so badly. But you have continued to help others as she helped you, in her memory. I deem you worthy. Allow me to help you. She spoke to him as she placed one pearly hand on his chest and one on his cheek. I give to you my heart, my soul, to make you whole, once again. She finished, as she kissed him on his forehead. When she kissed him, he felt warmth flood his body, overflowing but comforting. He also felt his ebbing strength and chakra from his previous battles with the monsters and demons of the castle return to him, and all of his wounds began to heal at a miraculous rate. Wah! What just happened? He asked, totally confused. She giggled sweetly and replied, my spirit and your soul are now joined. This is my thanks for rescuing me from this place. I am now bound to you, and you will never be alone again, my sweet Ichigo. Hitomi-chan and Hanzo Jiken wouldn't have wanted you to be so sad and lonely. She told him gently. His face held a confused look while tears poured down his cheeks. He looked down and his bangs covered his face while light sobbing was heard from the young blonde. She looked on in worry. What's wrong, Ichigo-kun? You really mean it? You won't leave me alone? He asked her in an almost childlike manner, looking back up to her honestly with his blue and green eyes glistening with tears. She smiled and shook her head. Nope, you're stuck with me, she said with a bright smile and a wink to the young blonde before her. Ichigo's frayed nerves finally snapped as he clutched her tightly while sobbing out, thank you, thank you. You're welcome, Ichigo-kun. You've suffered from loneliness for long enough. Just think of me as a live-in guardian angel. She chuckled. This got a chuckle out of Ichigo as well, calming him down. I forgot to ask, what's your name? What should I call you? She looked like she had been physically struck. I don't know. She answered honestly, her face downcast. Ichigo thought for a minute, then snapped his fingers. Hey, if you can't remember, I'll give you one. One based on how you appeared to me and because of your hair. I'll name you Sakuhime, the princess of the cherry blossoms. It was her turn to thank him. Oh, Ichigo-kun. I love it, thank you. She replied, giving him a gentle embrace. With that out of the way, they got to the task of completing the mission. It was now much easier with Sakuhime's help. Before, he needed to constantly channel chakra into the fang to do any sort of lasting damage to the monsters, and that was slowly, but surely wearing him down. But now, he had a much better weapon for the job. The Orichalcum, Ensis Celeste, as Haim referred to it as, was lethal to the monsters and demons that he faced and could slice through damn near anything without even the slightest blemish on the blade. His new partner explained to him that the blade itself had holy properties and that very few could wield it properly, if at all. The sheer fact that the sword glowed when he touched it instead of repelling him meant that the sword itself had chosen him. He also marveled at how light it seemed and easy to handle, despite its rather large size. The chakra fang was only half the length and he couldn't tell the difference in weight or balance, but he still needed an entirely new style to use the new holy blade effectively. After the mission was finished, he began to work on just that. On top of all that, Haim, as he began to call her, told him that her power now flowed freely through him. He was able to create some new techniques and moves using her holy chakra, such as the Heavenly Flash, Heavenly Wrath, and the Seraphim Rush. He also found out that any of his other chakra techniques would not work through the special sword, so he planted it in the middle of a field and launched a few low-level elemental jutsu at it, and that confirmed his suspicions. The orichalcum that the blade was made of naturally repelled any foreign power other than its own alignment. He was puzzled by this, but his puzzlement soon turned into understanding. He figured that he could use this as a defensive barrier or shield of sorts. The idea was put to the test when the UAC came calling again. They brought out some new toys with them this time. They had actually developed energy weapons on an off-world research facility, and now they were using them against him. The blade itself managed to repel the plasma and energy that the weapons shot out at him. This gave him the chance to counter-attack and gain some critical information out of the officers he captured. They told him that the UAC was conducting research on time, space and bioweapons in a facility on the planet Mars. With this information in hand, he stowed away on a supply shuttle bound for the research base. Once there, he reconnoitered around under various genjutsu and hanjas, sniffing around for the whereabouts of the research labs. Without warning, one of their temporal experiments went awry. Ichigo felt an immensely evil presence erupted throughout the base as things started to get out of hand. Some of the researchers were turned into zombie-like beings. Most of the Marine Security Detachment stationed there were also turned. Something had gone terribly wrong. "Haim, what the hell is going on here?" Ichigo asked her. "Just that. Hell, it's being brought here," she replied. The tone in her voice conveyed a slight amount of fear. "Ichigo-kun, we must find the source and I will try to close it down. The longer it stays open, there's no telling what may come through. All I know is that a human had to have summoned them. Please, we must hurry," she urged. He didn't need to be told twice, so he sprung into action. He found a few survivors and they cooperated with him to stay alive. He coordinated his efforts with a lone Marine corporal, a UAC counselor and his bodyguard, and a handful of staff members. They either fought alongside him or gave him the information he needed. The monsters that he faced were grotesque and twisted, but lethal. Haim told him that these were real demons, fresh from hell, not at all like the monsters he faced when they first met. But with the NC's Celeste and Sakuhim's powers at his disposal, he was able to slice a path straight to the heart of the chaos, very labs complex he was searching for. There, he found a portal that had been opened into the demonic realm, but it was a trap. The director of the experiments was the one who summoned the creatures to this realm, and sent him into hell. Once there, Ichigo and Haim fought their way through hell and back to the labs, thanks to an artifact that was found, called the Soul Cube. She told him that it was an ancient weapon of great power that fed off of the deaths of evil beings. It also helped them escape. Once back, they realized that the real portal wasn't in the labs at all, but somewhere in an underground dig site. Fighting his way there, he realized that this was an ancient civilization's ruins and they had encountered the demons before. They were the ones who created the Soul Cube. Just beyond the main burial chamber wall was the portal that they were searching for, along with the biggest monster that they had ever seen. It stood over 40 feet tall and wielded a massive launcher-like weapon, along with tremendous strength. His blade was effective against it, but he wasn't able to kill it with that alone. The battle was long and brutal, with Ichigo sustaining several injuries and running low on chakra. Suddenly, the cube came to life, and began to attack the demon, weakening it. Ichigo took the opportunity to finish it off quickly, via slicing off its head. Once it was dead, the cube flew down into the Hell Gate and sealed it off forever. The resulting explosion, though, ripped a hole in the fabric of time and space, taking Ichigo along with it. The temporal wormhole finally spat him out into a courtyard of sorts, surrounded by trees and a building. There was a battle going on all around him, but it stopped as both sides stopped to stare at him. There were shinobi, actual shinobi, dressed in the same uniform that Hanzo had given to him years ago and wore the same symbol that was on his ninjutsu, a spiral leaf insignia. Inoichi Yamanaka arrived at the tower to see a curious sight. Hiyashi Hyuga and Miho Haruno chatting as if they had been for years, each holding a scroll with an identical crest to his. Hiyashi saw Inoichi's and knew he was there for the same exact reason he and Miho were there for. "So, how did your daughter take the news?" Hiyashi asked him. "What, your girls, too? I guess we had the same idea. Talk about a coincidence," Miho said thoughtfully. "Quite," Hiyashi commented with an eyebrow raised. "Well, Ino fainted when she found out about the heritage and the marriage, but she genuinely loves the boy. She even said so before she found out. I'm just glad I won't have to hear how great that Uchiha kid is every 5 minutes." Inoichi added sarcastically. "Well, my Hinata can't even say the boy's name without blushing as red as a cherry and losing her ability to speak." Hiyashi chortled merrily. "With what Naruto did today and how Sasuke tried to kill them, I don't think we'll be hearing about him anymore." Sakura admitted just before finding out as well. "I also gave her some background information on the Uchiha clan and some of the things they did to Naruto." Her heart went out to him. She actually stated that she wants to marry Naruto, arranged marriage or not. She and Ino almost learned the hard way that sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. Naruto-kun's brush with death for their safety opened their eyes. "I feel that boy is truly Minato reborn." Miho finished, with both fathers nodding in agreement. Miho spoke up once again. "Well, gentlemen, are we going in or hanging around here all night?" she asked them with a smirk. The two fathers were taken aback slightly by her saucy demeanor, but nodded and followed. The trio marched right on up to Sarutobi's office. As they entered the office, Sarutobi couldn't help but notice the strange company. Well, this is certainly a motley crew. What could bring you all here at such an hour? He asked them with a chuckle. Inoichi stepped forward, sheepishly rubbing the back of his head and chuckling. Well, you see Hokage-sama, here's the rub. All three parents took turns explaining their reasons for wanting to follow through with the arranged marriages. Sarutobi sat in amused silence for a moment. He chuckled, then he erupted into full-blown laughter. Ha 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 ho 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 ha. He noticed the incredulous looks he was getting, so he explained. Oh, please pardon me. This is just too ironic. It's like some kind of fairy tale. Boy saves princesses, princesses fall for boy. Parents of princesses arrange for marriages due to promises with boys' forgotten parents and lineage. He chuckled for a moment longer before getting back to business. They still have 4 years until this can even be, so they have time, if nothing else. But before going any further, we'll have to consult the boy's new legal guardian to help settle this. New legal guardian? Hiyashi asked, dumbfounded. Yes. He arrived just today and took down the group that attacked us almost completely on his own. He also rescued some of my Anbu, as well as students and academy instructors. He also helped save your daughter's life, Miho. He gave Naruto enough cover to get her out safely. He explained, then turned to the far corner of the room. Inu. He called out. A dog-masked Anbu appeared before him. Please fetch Ichigo Uzumaki from his hotel room for me, won't you? Hi, Hokage-sama, he said as he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Now, we wait. Konoha Hot Springs in 2136 hours. Ichigo was near deep sleep when he heard a sharp knocking at his door. He got up grudgingly and shuffled his way to the door and opened it to see an Anbu staring back at him. Hokage-sama requests your presence in his office to help with a certain matter regarding Naruto Uzumaki. He stated, hold up, let me get dressed and I'll follow you. I still don't have this village down very well yet. He yawned. Come on in and grab some coffee. It's a fresh pot and we could both use some. He added, pouring them both a mug of coffee. Thanks, I needed that, the Anbu said gratefully, sipping his coffee. Good blend. 5 minutes later, Ichigo had on his Junin vest and Hite ate with his black overcoat. Lastly, he holstered NC's Celeste and the fang onto his back and motioned that he was ready to go. With that, both nin shunshined off to Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower 2142 hours. A red-haired woman poked her head into the office. Hokage-sama, Ichigo Uzumaki has arrived. Shana, the Hokage's secretary, stated. That was fast. Send him in, please. What's wrong, Hokage-sama? What's this about Naruto? Well, you know that whole clan business we talked about earlier today? Clan Bushi. Man. Ichigo whined as his head slumped. Sarutobi just chuckled at his expression. Miho, Hiyashi, and Inoichi all looked like they saw a ghost. Minato? Is it really you? Hiyashi gasped, looking at the tall young blonde with the broadsword on his back. Oh, I should have introduced you. This is Ichigo Uzumaki. He is the head of the newly formed Uzumaki clan. Clan head? What the hell, Ji-chan? When were you planning on telling me that? Ichigo fumed comically. Well, I sort of forgot to mention that. The old Hokage admitted with a sheepish grin. Ichigo sighed. What's done is done, so no use crying about it. Go ahead and fill me in on what's going on here. He sighed exasperatedly. Sarutobi clued him in on the whole arranged marriage situation. Lucky little turd, Ichigo muttered. I wish I had girls vying to marry me. He finished, pouting. Miho saw this and giggled. Oh, Ichigo-kun, you're still young and I'm sure you'll find a nice girl someday soon. She said to him while touching his arm, making him blush a deep red and fluster like a little boy. Oh, he is so cute. How old are you, Ichigo-kun? Well, I'm 19, turning the 20th of September 11th. Pretty young for a clan head, but we'll show you the ropes. Inoichi told his new fellow blonde, with Hiyashi nodding in agreement. Sarutobi dug around in his desk. That reminds me. He says, finally pulling out a set of keys and tosses them to Ichigo. Here, Ichigo caught the keys. What are these for? They're for the Namikaze family estate. Naruto and yourself will be living there from now on, Sarutobi stated. What? He exclaimed, narrowed his eyes in an accusing glare. You've held out on me, again. Now tell me the truth. I need to know if I'm going to be of any use in protecting him. Sarutobi sighed and relented. He had a point. A damn good point. He proceeded to tell the story of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Ichigo took in the story, weighing it carefully. He finally let out a tired sigh. Will you tell him? If you don't, then I will. I understand what you did was to protect him to a certain degree, but sometimes the best of intentions can do the most damage. He chided. I know. The old man said sullenly. Ichigo perked up suddenly though. Look on the bright side. I'm here now and I can protect him. At home, at school, and I can be his Junin sensei. He said in a strangely natural perky tone. Sarutobi's expression softened. Don't worry, I'll tell him. I'll do it myself. I'm practically the boy's grandfather, so it's only right. Alright, I'm holding you to that. Tomorrow, when we visit him again. Now, in the meantime, we just have to wait for my Tuto to get a clean bill of health. I think I'll spruce the place up a bit. A few dozen cage bunchin ought to do the trick. I think I'll head there now and get some sleep. Good night, Hokage-sama. He then turned to in-law hopefuls. Good night Yamanaka-san, Hyuga-san, Haruno-san. He said with a courteous bow to each in turn. He then left the office with a Mizu Shunshin. Hiyashi was the first to comment. A very interesting young man. He really does remind me of Minato. He said with a smirk. He really doesn't think much of himself. He seems to be so nice and I think he's a very handsome young man. It's only a matter of time before the wedding bells toll of him. Whoever snags him will be one lucky girl. Miho giggled, already feeling the itch to play matchmaker. Inoichi added his analysis. From the accounts of the battle, he seems to be a very powerful and skilled warrior and shinobi. Making him a Junin was a very wise choice. Without warning, Ichigo shunshined in again, chuckling and grinning sheepishly while rubbing the back of his head. Ah, heh. Can you show me the way there? I kinda realized that I have no clue where this place is. All in attendance sweat dropped. He's definitely like Minato, they thought in unison. But, Miho stepped up. I'll take you there, Ichigo-kun. After all, I need to get to know my future son-in-law's brother, don't I? She giggled as she took his arm in hers and led him to the office door. Hiyashi and Inoichi stood dumbly for a moment, then went out after them. Hey, we'll go, too, Heishi said. Why yeah, give our daughters a chance, too. Inoichi shouted as they left in a hurry, leaving behind a very amused Hokage. He turned to his gazing crystal for a front row seat of the events to come. This is gonna be good. He chuckled. Namikaze House 2242 hours. The whole way to the house, Miho wouldn't let go of his arm and all three parents were talking him to death, literally. They were telling him about their daughters and their virtues. Although, it wasn't totally a bother. He got to learn quite a bit about each family. The Yamanaka clan were all mind jutsu experts. Both Inoichi and his wife, Yuka, are both retired for missions. Yuka retired altogether and Inoichi works for the torture and interrogation department. They own a flower shop, which Yuka runs full-time. Their daughter, Ino, is an avid flower lover and very talented at ikebana, as she also helps out part-time at the shop. She is a very outspoken girl, very strong-minded. But she is also fiercely protective of her friends and loyal to them. Miho Haruno lost her husband in the Kyuubi attack, but doesn't bear Naruto any ill will. She retired from ninja life when Sakura was born and opened up a bakery and coffee shop, called Haruno Ya, and she invited him for sweets and coffee anytime. Sakura also helps out at the shop, becoming quite a good baker herself. She can be stubborn, but loyal and a very sweet young lady. Hiyashi Hyuga told him of the Hyuga clan and its own Kekkei Genkei, the Byakugan, and their taijutsu style, Juken. Hiyashi himself retired from doing missions so he could run the clan. He told him of his late wife, Hito, and how she passed away in giving birth to his second daughter, Hanabi. Ichigo gave his condolences, but Hiyashi said they weren't necessary, but appreciated nonetheless. Hinata strove to take after her mother for her sister's sake after she died. She is also the heiress to the clan. She may be a bit timid, but she is a genuinely sweet and kind girl. They asked him about himself and he gave them his cover story, the one he originally told Rin and the one Sarutobi helped him craft. Right in the middle of if, Tsukuhime popped out and the story almost fell apart. Luckily, she was quick on the uptake and played along. Miho did wonder, however, if Tsukuhime was a Haruno ancestor. I mean, pink hair is exceedingly rare. She also wondered if she was in love with her master. Oh, no, she said quickly, waving her hands to dispel any such thought. We're more brother and sister than anything, being a ghost and all. But, if I were alive, he'd be mine. No one else's, mine. She finished, giggling and blushing madly. The rest of the way, Hiyashi and Inoichi couldn't help but stare at her dumbly, totally mesmerized by her beauty. Hiyashi had to fight back a slight nosebleed, due to the low cut of Haim's dress. They finally reached their destination, the gate to the house. Miho finally detached herself from Ichigo's arm, saying that it's been a while since she walked on the arm of a handsome young man, which made him blush, again. It is so easy to make him blush. It is just so cute. The hopeful in-laws bid him good night and he entered the house. He found a picture of the young Yondaime Hokage and his wife. Tsukuhime saw this. Wow. You and Naruto-kun really look just like him. It's no wonder why they thought that you were him at first. His wife and Naruto-kun's mother was very beautiful. She must have loved him very much. She said sadly, wiping away a ghostly tear. Yeah, at least, he'll know who his parents were tomorrow and what they looked like. Better off than me, I suppose. He grinned sadly, setting the picture back down where he got it. He went to pick out a room and get some sleep. He's gonna need it. Time skip, April 26, Uzumaki Residence 0530 hours. Ichigo groggily got up from bed and got ready for his first day of teaching. In his half-asleep days, his mind wandered back over the past 2 weeks. Naruto was told by the Sandaime about his true heritage. He took it fairly well, until he fainted. After coming to, he was told about the new house and how all his stuff was already moved in by his new brother. The two of them hit it off spectacularly, acting like old friends, just what Sarutobi was hoping for. The girls visited whenever they could and he got visits from other classmates as well, minus the Uchiha fan club who were now dubbed the Uchiha Tards, and Sasuke himself, until he was let out after a few days. The girls have settled into a friendly rivalry over Naruto while remaining friends. They each agreed that whoever Naruto chose, they would support it. Until then, they had 4 years to wait, so they decided to be his friend first. All three parents were pleasantly surprised of their daughter's maturity and at how well Naruto handled it. He didn't want others to know about his heritage because he wanted to get people to respect him on his own. This made his stock rise with the Shinobi Council, the parents and the girls. Rin and Ichigo decided to take it slowly with the budding relationship. The first official date went beautifully. A slightly jealous guide challenged him to a contest of youthfulness for her hand, but that idea was quickly quashed by Rin stating that she chose Ichigo and that was that. He relented and called him his new rival. Kakashi took the news fairly well. He realized that he had years to ask her out, but he didn't and only had himself to blame. No thanks to the civilian council and 2 of the 3 elders, Sasuke didn't even get a slap on the wrist. Most commended him for punishing the demon. They also called for an inquiry on Ichigo, despite his actions in thwarting the attack and saving many lives and a few Anbu. The inquiry was shot down by the Shinobi Council, who were outraged that the Uchiha didn't even get punished for almost killing 4 people out of spite and pettiness, including 2 clan heiresses. The Shinobi Council welcomed Ichigo as the Uzumaki clan head with open arms, while Inoichi and Hiyashi were showing him the ins and outs of politics within the village. Sume Inuzuka actually tried to fix up Ichigo with her 17-year-old daughter, a chunin named Hana. He was honestly flattered by the proposal, but he kinda let slip that he and Rin were already seeing each other. She wasn't mad, but instead congratulated him on being a quick worker. Dinner at each potential in-laws was interesting, to say the least. Dinner at the Hyuga compound was a pretty formal affair, actually forcing the guys to get all gussied up. They managed to at least look passable thanks to Rin and a fellow nurse who also liked treating Naruto. Coincidentally, she's also a Hyuga, named Irie, so she was there to help the boys out. Formal dining was never really a strong suit for either Uzumaki, so some faux pas were bound to be made. All in all, the dinner was a surprising success, thanks to Irie. Hinata was quite the hostess, a gentle and polite young lady. She ever managed to control her stuttering. Although, she still couldn't look at Naruto without blushing madly. Next was dinner with Miho Haruno. This time, Ichigo insisted on taking them out. He took them to the same restaurant he and Rin had their first date in. The dinner went fine, until a couple of villagers got uppity with Naruto, which resulted in a mother-daughter knockout punch combo. Needless to say, said villagers were going to need some serious dental work. Ichigo was more than impressed, bordering on frightened, with the mother-daughter duo. Whoa, a nice dinner ending in a brawl. I won't deny how cool that was and that Jackass had it coming, Mrs. Haruno regarded it as probably one of the best dates ever, with Sakura feeling refreshed, having let out some pent-up frustration that almost made her seek out Sasuke or any of his fangirls, just to beat the living crap out of them. Last, but not least, dinner at the Yamanaka's. Inoichi's wife took a shine to the older Uzumaki almost instantly. She also liked their bashful nature and how easily he flushed, which reminded her of a younger Minato. She was also a little surprised with their massive appetites, but just chalked it up to the healthy appetites of growing boys. Ino remarked on how well they cleaned up as she flirted with them a bit, making both Uzumakis blush an insanely bright red with minimal effort. She's definitely the more aggressive of the three. This'll be funny to see. Through all three dinners, Naruto miraculously avoided embarrassing himself, due to coaching from Rin and Irie on manners and how to handle girls. He seemed to take the coaching with relish, absorbing everything like a sponge, which really impressed them both. Irie was caught sighing, if only he were older, making Rin laugh out loud and Naruto to blush and pass out. He stopped the flashbacks and concentrated on getting ready for his first day of teaching. Tsukuhime managed to wake him up some more by rattling his head around. Naruto was already up and getting washed up. Ichigo helped him get rid of his hideous orange jumpsuit and get some real clothes. He now wore a gray jacket with a mesh undershirt and royal blue pants. Tsukuhime said that the gray made his eyes stand out more. Ichigo made a few adjustments to his wardrobe as well. He now wore the standard Junin uniform with armor-plated arm and shin guards, then took out the trauma plates from his original armor vest and installed them in his Junin vest for extra protection. He also got some chakra weights for himself and Naruto to wear at all times, in order to train at every opportunity. He also taught Naruto the Kage Bunshin, seeing as his reserves were nearly as large as his own, in order to help speed up his training in chakra control. The two brothers left the house en route to the academy. Along the way, they hit up an all-night diner to grab some quick grub. Ichigo got his morning coffee and Naruto got his newly customary stack of pancakes as part of their new morning ritual. With full tummies and a much brighter outlook on life in general, they went towards the academy and the start of a new life for them both. Konoha Academy 0630 hours. As soon as they got to the academy, they split up to go where they needed to. Naruto to his classroom and Ichigo to the faculty office to meet with Iruka. From there, Ichigo got his classroom assignment, Class 7A, huh? He thought as he was handed his class roster. Ino, Sakura, Hinata, and Naruto in my class. Talk about karma. So, they're all in the class you'll be teaching. This will be interesting. You're telling me, Haim. When Naruto walked into the classroom, he noticed something strange right off the bat. The atmosphere was no longer totally hostile. He still got his customary glares, but those were now very few, limited to the Uchiha fangirls and the Uchiha himself. The rest were looks ranging from mild interest to sheer admiration and gratitude. He decided to take a seat next to Choji Akamichi. The portly boy patted him on the back. Good job, man. You did good. Naruto looked the deer in the headlights. What did I do? He asked, puzzled. What, don't you remember? You're a hero. Kiba Inuzuka piped in. Oh, yeah, the fire. It wasn't that special. I'm no hero. He said in a detached tone, but Kiba stopped him. No, you're a hero. That was extremely brave. You even nearly died to protect people who did nothing but hate you. I for one, am proud that I'm your classmate. Also, sorry about always calling you Dobi. He finished apologetically. It's cool, Kiba. I decided that I'd forgive everyone anyway. Holding grudges just seems stupid to me and a waste of energy. And the whole hero thing. My new brother told me what someone told him once, that every hero is 1 part brave and 3 parts fool. I didn't get it at first, but I think I do now. I guess I'm still the same baka I was, huh? Naruto finished, chuckling weakly. Shino decided to throw in his 2 cents on the matter. Your brother sounds quite wise. He was trying to say that bravery in any form never conforms to logic, so you, Naruto, are no fool. His explanation seemed to confuse the others, but Naruto just thanked him anyway. He was about to relax for a moment when a shrill voice cut into the silence. The new queen of the Uchiha fangirls, Amy, began to verbally assault Naruto. Stop trying to look cool, you stupid dobi baka. You'll never be as great as Sasuke-kun. You should have just laid there and died like a good little baka. Good God, were we really that bad? I feel kinda sick just feeling reminded of our fangirl days, don't you, Sakura? Ino quipped from the doorway of the classroom. Sakura walked right into the room. Don't remind me, Ino. I'm still trying to forget it ever happened. I still can't believe what that coward tried to do. Isn't that the truth? Hinata said as she walked to her seat. She glared over at the fangirls and the object of their affection. How can you throw yourselves at this coward, even after he showed his true colors? Are you that blind? She remarked, the fangirls sending her death glares, which she returned, Byakugan enhanced. Say, Ino-chan, didn't that spineless coward leave you to die while Naruto-kun saved you? Oh, yeah, that Uchiha ass left me to die. If it weren't for the one you fools call Adobe, neither me, Hinata, Sakura, or some of the kindergarten students would even be alive right now. I owe Naruto-kun my life. He's actually a pretty nice guy if you give him a chance, and he's not as dumb as you think. Ino stated, standing up for her new friend Naruto. The fangirls were about to retort, but Iruka and Ichigo came into the room. The kids who didn't know him already were shocked that this new sensei came in looking like he just came off of the battlefield, armed heavily. The large sword on his back was imposing enough, but add that to the smaller, but just a lethal-looking ninjutsu attached to his lower back, plus his height and odd eyes made him an imposing figure. Alright class, sit down. Iruka addressed them. Now, I have a new instructor for you. He'll be yours for your final year here at the academy. He said, then gestured for Ichigo to introduce himself. Hey there, kids. The name's Ichigo Uzumaki. I'm 19 years old and a Junin. Either Ichigo-sensei or Uzumaki-sensei will do. He said brightly and with his best fox-like smile, causing even some of the Uchiha tards to blush. The class was thrown for a loop. The imposing air he had to him seemed to vanish and a rather friendly one appeared in its place. Ino's eyes went wide. Our new sensei is Naruto's older brother? How cool is that? Ichigo-san is our sensei? This year's going to be interesting. Sakura surmised. I feel this year will be a good one, Hinata thought. Sasuke, however, scoffed at this new Uzumaki. Yeah, whatever. Even if the Dobi's brother is a Junin, he can't be much. He works here after all. All that hardware is probably just for show. He sneered. His fangirls all laughed at the jibe. Yeah, he probably can't even touch Sasuke-kun. What a joke of a sensei. Naruto was livid. The Teme and his band of female flunkies had dared to insult his new brother. But he saw that he wasn't the only one that was angry. Sakura, Hinata, Ino, and Iruka were all extremely pissed off. Ichigo seemed to have a neutral look on his face, but snapped back to a cheery facade. Ah, the infamous fangirls, the biggest liability there is. Blind devotion and fanaticism are extremely dangerous and foolish in this line of work. He retorted, then turned his attention to the whole class. Okay class, since the weather is kinda nice today, our first lesson's gonna be outside this morning. So, if you'll follow me to the sparring grounds, please? He asked cordially as he performed a Mizu Shunshin, disappearing in a column of water and leaving behind a stunned class. Iruka simply called out, okay class. You heard him, let's go. The class got up to go down to the sparring grounds as ordered. Naruto was using every bit of willpower he had to suppress his laughter, as he knew about the ass-kicking the stuck-up Uchiha was about to receive. He told the girls, Kiba, and Choji about what was to come, though. After all, this was too good to miss. Konoha Academy sparring grounds. The class plus some instructors in a class arrived at the sparring grounds to see Ichigo-sensei already there, relaxing in the shade of a nearby tree. He looked up to see them coming. Oh, hey there, kids, he said lazily. He grunted as he straightened himself and walked over to the class. Now, I believe Emo Boy here had some choice words about the teaching staff here. Well, here's the rub, kid. He stated as he unsheathed the holy blade and the fang and plunged them into the ground, creating a small crater where the larger sword impacted. "You use anything you want and I'll only use my right hand," he said plainly. Tsukuhime popped out to see what was going on. "Master, go easy on him," she warned in a sing-song voice. "Ah, come on, Haim. I am going easy. Besides, this is my class now," Ichigo said as he fixed the Uchiha with a cold glare. Tsukuhime's appearance provoked a mixed reaction in the crowd. The men and boys thought she was hot. The girls, for the most part, thought that she was beautiful. Said beautiful girl noticed Hinata, Ino, and Sakura. "Oh, girls, how are you today?" the ghostly girl asked. Sakura looked over at her and exclaimed, "Haim. It's so good to see you." All three girls had become fast friends with the friendly semi-solid girl. Due to her personality, she was able to befriend damn near everyone. "Naruto-kun, Yuhu," she called out in a sing-song voice. He blushed, but called back to her. "Good morning, Haim Nichan." He stammered out. They all made small talk until Ichigo told Sasuke to begin. Sasuke was beginning to get enraged at how Ichigo wasn't even blocking and only made minor movements to avoid his blows. His movements seemed to resemble water conforming to the jar it was contained in, with fluidity and grace. His lack of counterattacks only served to infuriate the Uchiha even further. "You let your hate and rage control you. It weakens you, leaves you open and vulnerable. You have some solid skill, but you cheapen yourself with your arrogance and callousness. If you can't correct this, you should quit being a ninja." "Boy, I know the Uchiha massacre. But guess what? I've seen and experienced far worse. That Dobi, as you call him, has been alone his whole life. An orphan from birth and hated just for being born the day the Kyuubi attacked and having his whisker like birthmarks. He had been beaten, stabbed, starved, and God only knows what else. All the while, you soaking up sympathy, basking in your role as the tragic and heroic survivor." Ichigo told him calmly as he danced in and out of Sasuke's attacks. Sasuke's rage boiled over. "Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. How dare an idiot like you lecture me, an Uchiha? You could never understand my pain. Low-born common trash like you and that Dobi you call a brother should be groveling at my feet, satisfied to merely be in my presence." He screamed at the top of his lungs. He then raced through hand seals. Katon. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Ichigo sighed and let the fireball hit him as the students gasped in horror as the flames enveloped him. The fire dissipated to reveal Ichigo holding a hand in front of him, totally unharmed and glowing a gentle blue. He flickered out and a split second later, he reappeared with his right fist sunk into Sasuke's stomach, lifting him off the ground with it and holding him there. "You think this is pain?" Ichigo started softly, but his rage took over in his voice. "You try being raised and programmed into a living weapon when you barely learned to walk. You try being viewed as an abomination, just for being what you were created and trained to be. If it weren't for my sensei and Tsukuhime, I would have been a mass-murdering psychopath years ago. I saw the girl I loved, more than life itself, die in front of me. Don't ever think you can talk to Naruto or myself about pain, you insignificant little worm. Did it feel good, you weakling? Picking on those weaker than yourself? How about attacking somebody who was unconscious and helpless? You are nothing but a goddamned coward." Ichigo roared in fury as he viciously drove the wannabe Avenger into the ground with his fist, leaving him out cold. Sakura stood rooted to her spot, terrified. "Haim. Is this true? About Ichigo-sensei?" she asked once her voice obeyed her again. The ghost girl sighed sadly and replied, "Yes, it is all true. But this is only the very tip of all he has been through in his life. If I were a human, the things he has seen and faced down would give me nightmares for all eternity. He has fought his way through hell and back again. The only two people who showed him kindness died during a battle. The girl he mentioned was very kind and gentle. She loved him, and he her. But sadly, she was killed in front of him and to this day, he curses himself for his weakness. He never gives himself any credit. His inner strength is unimaginable. His soul is practically made of diamond and his heart lined with steel. He is truly the strongest, but also the kindest man I have ever known. I will always stay by his side. My master is just like Naruto-kun, a forsaken hero, shunned and hated by those he protected." She finished, sobbing softly. The students were shocked beyond words. Suddenly, Ichigo exploded into a puddle of water and Ichigo appeared in another column of water. Iruka exclaimed out loud, "A Mizu Bunshin? I'm Ichigo Uzumaki. I will be your sensei for this year." He told them in a booming, commanding voice. "What you just witnessed was my first lesson, humility." This boy thought himself better than everyone else solely due to his clan. He learned the hard way, but it could have been far worse. The Mizu Bunshin only has 1/10 of my total strength. It barely even gave an effort and still took him down. This goes to show you that you should never underestimate your enemy. We are your instructors for a reason. We have real field experience. Also, blind faith and fanaticism is another surefire killer out there. Being a shinobi is not a game, kids. He stopped for a moment to take a breath, but was interrupted by the fan club. "How dare you do that to Sasuke-kun, you monster. You cheated to win, otherwise Sasuke-kun would have kicked your ass." Amy screeched out, with the other remaining fangirls clamoring in agreement. A lazy voice drawled out, "Hey, morons. Pipe down, shut up, and listen up. Don't you idiots get it? He just told everyone that overconfidence and blind devotion will get you killed. I actually paid attention to the fight with him and the missing nins. They were all B rank and up. He killed them all, in less than 5 minutes. That wasn't a fight, it was a slaughter. Are you really dumb enough to think that your precious Sasuke could stand a chance against a shinobi that powerful, someone who might even be as strong as the Sannin, or at least S rank? He used a jutsu that actually gave Sasuke a handicap, and he still got his ass kicked. I think it's safe to say that Ichigo-sensei knows what he's doing and what he's talking about." Shikamaru scolded the fangirls. "Thanks, Shikamaru, right?" Ichigo said. Shikamaru nodded in response. The Uchiha tards started to argue again, but Ichigo had finally heard enough. "Enough!" he roared out, releasing a massive wave of killer intent that swept over the whole academy. "In my class, there will be no geniuses or prodigies. There will be no dobes, either. If you see a classmate struggling with a subject you're good at, help him or her out. Do not abandon them. You all want to be shinobi of Konoha? Prove it to me first by helping out your classmates. They will be your future comrades. Your life will be in their hands one day. If you think you're special or too talented, get the hell out of my class. If you joined just to impress someone, leave now before you get someone killed." He yelled, but calmed down again. "Now, let's go back inside and start the day, again." He finished, picking up and reholstering his blades onto his back and using his Mizu Shunshin to get back to the classroom. The rest of the class looked on in stunned silence as Iruka gathered Sasuke and took him to the nurse's office. He couldn't help but agree with Ichigo's ideas and actions. The Uchiha boy has been spoiled far too much and his arrogance is starting to get out of control. It's about time that someone put him in his place. He got the class to go back inside. Konoha Academy, lunch period. The rest of the morning passed by rather quickly and before they knew it, it was lunchtime. Ichigo lamented that he forgot to prepare a lunch for himself, being more worried about Naruto than himself. He sighed and left for the academy lunch counter. "One tonkatsu bento, please," he asked the lunch lady. She handed him the lunch and he looked for a place to eat. Iruka got his attention and motioned him over to eat with him and a female instructor. She had very peculiar eyes. They were crimson. She spoke up. "You must be the new teacher that Iruka told me about." "I'm Kurenai Yuhi," she told him. "I heard that Naruto Uzumaki is your little brother." "Yeah, you heard right. So, how was he before I came here?" "Well, he was certainly a little hellraiser for one." The crimson-eyed instructor chuckled, but continued. "But his knack for pranks makes him a genius at making traps, which is one of the things that I teach. But underneath his exterior, he's actually a real sweetheart. He always tried to help the other students, but always got shunned. It's quite sad. I know about his condition, but all I see is a boy who needs attention and affection." Kurenai stated. "I agree with you there. He's just misunderstood. I was an orphan myself, you know. I was the same way." Iruka mused out loud. Ichigo sighed deeply. "Well, let's see how this year treats him," he said as he finished his bento in record time, causing the other two teachers to blink in surprise. "Ah, that was a good snack. I'll be heading back to the classroom now, Yane," he added over his shoulder as he went back to the room. "So, Kurenai, what's your impression of him?" Iruka asked. "He seems likable and easy to talk to." I heard about the way he handled the Uchiha and his speech to his class. That's not going to win him many friends on the staff, but he's got my seal of approval. I can't stand how the other instructors allow that Uchiha brat to walk all over them. I'm glad he has some dignity and pride in his job. That speech of his was acutely kind of inspiring. He wants to treat each student equally and try not to leave any behind. He also wants them to help each other out, like a sort of teamwork exercise. It's simple, but smart. Overall, I like this guy, Kurenai said as she turned back to her lunch. Meanwhile, in the academy courtyard, Naruto sat underneath the maple tree in the courtyard, thinking about all that's happened in the past 2 weeks. Man, the past 2 weeks have been crazy. My whole world got turned upside down, but it got better. I have family now, an older brother. Someone to look up to. I have actual friends now, who even stood up for me. Sakura-chan doesn't hate me anymore, neither does Ino-chan. Hinata-chan has changed, too. She's not so shy anymore, and it's kinda cute. I never knew she was such a good cook. Sakura-chan surprised me, too. She's really good at baking and she's actually really nice. I guess the Teme was just a bad influence. Ino is, well, unique. But cute in her way, like Hinata and Sakura are. All three have traits that I really like. AAARRRRGGGHHH. I have to choose just one? How the hell can I do this? Man, I'm glad Aniki's here for this. He thought as Sakura came up to him unnoticed, due to his intense concentration. She walked up to him and touched his shoulder gently. "A Ryu for your thoughts, Naruto," she told him softly, slightly startling him. "SS saw Sakura-chan?" He gasped out as he jumped slightly, making her giggle. "What's the matter, Naruto? Something bothering you? You can tell me, if you like," she told him in a concerned voice. Naruto sighed loudly. "Well, it's just that these past 2 weeks have been kinda nuts for me, you know, with how things used to be before in my life. The Kyuubi, my parents, the whole arranged marriage thing, my new Aniki. Then I somehow went from village plague to a hero almost overnight, just for doing what I wished someone to do for me. My whole world's been turned upside down, and I'm still trying to sort it all out," he said with a sigh. "I'm still wondering if this is all too good to be true." He sighed again, sadly. Sakura looked on sadly. "Oh, Naruto. I really do care for you," she thought as she let him continue. "Aniki is really pretty cool and I like him already. I've only known him for a couple weeks, and I feel like I've known him all my life. He's a lot like me. His partner, Tsukuhime, is really nice, too. She treats me like her kid brother, which is kinda weird coming from a ghost, or whatever she is," he finished. Sakura giggled at his puzzled look. "Sounds like a nice family. Strange, but nice." Ino and Hinata spotted the two sitting there under the maple tree chatting and joined them. "Hey, Sakura, don't hog him all for yourself," Ino said playfully, ending with a giggle that made Naruto nearly pass out from too much blood to his head. All three girls found his reaction cute. Hinata recovered first and spoke up. "I brought an extra large bento for all of us to share," she told them as she pulled out one of the biggest bentos they had ever seen. With a quick thanks, the group quickly dug into the food, truly enraptured by the pale-eyed girls' cooking. During their meal they received some nasty glares from Sasuke's devotees and the jerk himself, but paid them no mind. Just after they cleaned up from lunch, the bell rang to signal the end of the break, and all the students filed back into the classroom. Back inside the classroom, Ichigo waited patiently as his class got seated to get started. For 2 hours, he worked with them on ninjutsu, the henge, more specifically. He saw some pretty funny attempts at the students transforming into him. After that, it was time for sparring practice. He led them to the sparring grounds. He divided up the class into pairs and set them to work. The girls all found themselves against a fangirl. The girls found that 2 other girls in the class had come to their senses. Haruka and Kasumi were their names. They all flattened their opponents. With the boys, however, Sasuke had quickly and brutally taken down his partner. "I want the dobi," he said with a smirk and a matching sneer. Ichigo spoke up. "Ah, no. For the first week back, Naruto's under doctor's orders to not have physical training of any type, or he'll reopen his wounds again. Hence why he's over by the tree practic NG chakra control. If I let him break that order, Rin's gonna kill me," he finished with a shudder. Sasuke scoffed. "Some sensei. Scared of a woman. How pathetic." No wonder you teach here. Ino got pissed at his comment. Hey dumbass, did sensei give you brain damage earlier or something? I saw the whole battle that day. Sensei's AS class nin at least. He just likes teaching. Hinata added to the defense of their new sensei. He might even be able to take on your brother, Sasuke. Maybe even kill him, she said, but got cut off. Shut up, you stupid Hyuga wench. No one can kill an Uchiha but an Uchiha. He roared in fury as he bore down on Hinata. Quicker than an eye blink, Ichigo took him down, pinning him to the ground by his throat. You might want to cool the attitude, boy. One day, that ego of yours will run away with your head. He told Sasuke in a cold, venomous tone before pulling a 180 back into his cheerful side. Choji stepped up to Sasuke. I'll take you on, Uchiha. He said with a scowl. Fine, fat ass. Let's go. Sasuke taunted. Little did he know that taunting Choji about his weight or size was like signing your own death warrant. Buben Baika no Jutsu, roared Choji, as his hands and arms expanded to enormous size. He swiped with his left to make Sasuke jump straight up to dodge and had his right come right down on him, flattening him like a pancake. I am not fat, he bellowed as he began his rant on the virtues of the chubbies. The two other girls mentioned earlier made their way over to Naruto. They had seen who and what the former object of their affections for what his truly is, and as a result, they found him lacking in all the areas that count the most. They just hoped that Naruto would forgive them for all the things they did to him as fangirls. They were in the crowd of girls that saw Sasuke beat the crap out of Naruto for no reason. Their guilt only increased when they saw Naruto carry people out of the building, still badly hurt. When they saw Naruto nearly die in front of them, it broke their hearts. They saw him as a hero after that. Kasumi slowly walked up to him, Haruka trailing slightly behind her. Kasumi gathered up her nerves and spoke. Naruto-san. We want to say we're sorry. We're sorry for all the things we've said and done to you over our time in the academy. I know we probably don't deserve it, but can you forgive us? If you don't, I understand. She told him, tears starting to leak out slowly. He looked into her brown eyes with his own blue ones, and found her to be honest. He breathed deeply and let it out, giving them both a warm, comforting smile. I forgive you, he told them gently as he passed them to head back to the rest of the class. The two girls broke down in relief, holding each other tightly while crying. Thank you, Naruto. Thank you so much. The bell to end the school day rung and everyone headed for home. The brothers Uzumaki also headed home from the first day of their new lives.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.